My farm is in the desert. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Rest today. It has been thundering and raining these days, so I can't write. I'll take a day off today and update more tomorrow. It's thundering again, so I won't say any more. That's it. To be continued. Chapter 113, New Store Location. As early as last year, Cai Hongming asked Ruan Xiangsuan to help him find a store in a prosperous area of Suzhou, preparing to open a branch of Zhou barbecue noodle shop. But there was no news. It was not until the global economic crisis broke out last year and a wave of bankruptcies occurred in China. Many stores closed one after another for various reasons, and he finally had a chance to open a branch. Unfortunately, he was still filming at that time and had no time to go there. So after finishing his work in Beijing, he flew to Suzhou. After getting off the plane, he didn't rush to contact Ruan Xiangsuan. He first found a hotel to stay in and called him after washing off the dust on the way. After receiving Cai Hongming's call, Ruan Xiangsuan hurried over and said to him, as soon as they met, "Why didn't you call me before you came so that I could pick you up at the airport?" Cai Hongming's behavior made him very unhappy. The two of them had been together for so long that they were friends. When he went to his place, he was so warm and entertaining, but he did this to his own place, which seemed too strange, and he, as the host, didn't know what to say. But he didn't know that Cai Hongming always had this temper and didn't like to bother others. "You're not a child, don't bother so much," Cai Hongming said with a smile. "By the way, where is the store you mentioned? Should we go see it now, or?" "Don't be so anxious, it's almost noon, let's have a meal first." So, Ruan Xiangsuan drove Cai Hongming to eat. After driving for a while, the car came to a lake and stopped. There was an antique restaurant on the lakeside, named Yellow Crane, which made people feel a little deafening, because the name was too loud. Walking inside, Cai Hongming saw two beautiful Jiangnan women playing the pipa at the corner of the building, singing Jiangnan tunes in Wunan dialect. The sound was light, soft and crisp, like jade beads falling on a plate. It made people feel as if they had eaten a peach, and their hearts were sweet. Before eating, Cai Hongming felt that he had fallen in love with this Yellow Crane tower. They chose a seat by the window facing the water. Outside the window was a lake with lotus flowers planted in the lake. Not far from the window, there is a clear green lotus leaf. It is dotted with pink, white, or light yellow lotus flowers. Some of the blooming lotus flowers are very close to the windowsill, and you can catch them with just a little stretch of your hand. Ruan Xiangsuan was not polite. He leaned out and picked a green lotus pod from the lake, peeled the lotus seeds, put them into his mouth, and ate them with a crunch. People in the Jiangsu and Zhejiang areas like to eat green and tender lotus seeds, saying that they are like peanuts, crispy and sweet. Ruan Xiangsuan did not eat alone. He broke off half of the lotus pod and gave it to Cai Hongming, and then asked the waiter to order dishes. Cai Hongming was not familiar with this place and did not know what to eat. Ruan Xiangsuan took the initiative to order some Suzhou-style dishes. Suzhou cuisine is sweet. It seems that the dishes will kill people without sugar, but the taste is very similar to that in southern Fujian, and Cai Hongming felt good after eating it. After dinner, Ruan Xiangsuan asked someone to serve another pot of tea. The two of them sipped it while enjoying the cool breeze blowing from the lake. A burst of Wunan whispered in their ears again. They closed their eyes and listened quietly. It seemed as if their bodies also took on the breath of the Jiangnan water town. "This place is not bad," Ruan Xiangsuan said to Cai Hongming. Cai Hongming nodded. "This place is really good. The food is good, the people are good, and the environment is good. Originally, there was also a house to sell here, but unfortunately you were not free at that time, and the owner was in a hurry to sell the house for money, so it was gone. That's a pity. This place is really good. And it's also very popular. It's not a pity. There are still a few houses that I feel are good. I'll go down and take a look. They may not be worse than this place. Speaking of which, you should thank the recent economic downturn. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many people rushing to sell houses to make up for the shortfall in their business, but you caught up with the good times. It's almost time, let's go. Ruan Xiangsuan went to pay the bill and then took Cai Hongming to see the house. The most prosperous areas in Sutai are Guanqian Street and Shilu, which are centered around Zuanmiao Temple. If you can open a store in these two streets and manage it well, you will undoubtedly make a lot of money. Ruan Xiangsuan found a parking lot to park the car, and then led Cai Hongming to a large clothing store on the side of Guanqian Street. The owner of this store is in the factory business. Seeing the good news in the stock market, he invested a lot of money in it. Unfortunately, he was unlucky. Others made a lot of money in the stock market, but he entered the stock market, and it fell to the limit. Now all his money was trapped, and his business could not be turned around. He was unlucky and encountered an economic crisis, and the bank tightened loans. He had no choice but to sell the store to raise money to save the company. Otherwise, he could make a lot of money by keeping the store for a month. He would be stupid to sell it. Cai Hongming took a look. The store is divided into 2 floors, about 500 square meters, and the boss asked for a friendly price of 65 million. He still has more than 100 million yuan on him. After buying this shop, he will have to make a movie and buy a helicopter, and all this money will be gone in a flash. He used to think he had a lot of money, but now it seems that he is still a poor man. However, Cai Hongming did not plan to buy this house immediately, but asked Ruan Xiangsuan to take him to other places to have a look. Shop around. If you don't look around, how can you know which place is better? Then he looked at 2 more stores, one near the humble administrator's garden and the other in Shilu, which is also a prosperous area. The prices are similar to the previous ones, but they are worth the money. Finally, Ruan Xiangsuan took him to a place, Wanda Plaza, and had a meal there. The real estate here is newly opened, and the popularity is not as prosperous as the previous 3 places, but it is convenient for transportation. The air is good, and the price is cheap. A store of about 500 square meters can be purchased for only 10 million yuan. Cai Hongming thought about it. His barbecue restaurant uses yaks, ostriches, vermicelli, rice noodles and other things raised on his own farm. The taste is excellent. It is not in a busy area. As long as it is promoted, it will be popular with many people. Moreover, there are many people driving now. It only takes a few seconds to get here, so the lack of popularity does not need to be considered. Besides, it is impossible for this place to be unpopular forever. It is just a matter of time. After thinking about it, Cai Hongming decided to buy 2 sets of stores. The reason for buying 2 sets is that he wants to connect the 2 places. While expanding the store, he also opens a small store next to it to sell agricultural products produced by himself, such as rice, vermicelli, yak meat, ostrich meat and other things. In the future, he may develop some handicrafts made of yak hair, ostrich hair, yak bones, ostrich bones and other things to sell. After buying the store, he found a well-known local design company to design and decorate it. He plans to design the store to have a rough and heroic desert style with a bit of gentleness. The main style is similar to that of Saudi Arabia and Egypt, because those are also desert countries. At that time, he will ask experts to use 3D images to present the vast desert on the surrounding walls, so that people will feel as if they are in the vast desert when they come in. The furnishings inside should also have a strong desert style. When the store opens, he will ask people to go to Zhejiang to buy some ethnic style carpets to hang. I believe that when people come in, they will be refreshed and impressed. The decoration of the store takes a lot of time. Cai Hongming asked the design company to design the drawings. After looking at them and being satisfied, he asked them to start the decoration. He had something else to do and couldn't be here every day, so he asked Ruan Xiangsuan to come and take a look when he was free, and then he took a plane to Nanjing. Cai Hongming wanted to make Zhejiang barbecue noodle shop into a chain enterprise. He planned to start with the richest areas of Jiangsu and Zhejiang, and then radiate from the surrounding major cities to open stores all over the country. In fact, when he was at home, he had already checked the stores in Nanjing on the internet and found a few through an agent. This time he came mainly to see if those stores were good enough. If they were, he planned to buy them and then see how the store in Suzhou would turn out after renovation. If they were, he would renovate the stores in the same way. Suzhou is very close to Nanjing, and it was still early when he arrived, so he called the real estate agent he had communicated with before. Not long after, a woman in her 30s came over. The two chatted casually for a few words and then went to see the stores. Nanjing has 3 largest business districts. One is Xinjikao, one is Yunnan Road, one is Confucius Temple, and there is also one on Zuanwu Road, but the most prosperous one is Xinjikao. The first store Cai Hongming wanted to see was the Wanda Plaza located in Xinjikao. To be continued, Chapter 114, 10 miles of Qinhui River. In China, if Wanda is ranked second in the real estate industry, no one would dare to claim to be the first. It must be said that the houses built by Wanda are indeed good, and many places are very popular, which can be said to lead the way. The Wanda Plaza in Xinjikao is also the same. Before it was built, other places were prosperous areas, but after it was built, this place quickly attracted crowds from other places, and became the number one in the local area. The shops here have always been the most popular in the market. Once the news that someone wants to transfer a shop comes out, the shop will definitely change hands in a few days. As mentioned earlier, it is also thanks to the current sluggish market economy that many people want to sell their shops to ease the crisis, and then some people have started to sell. If it was impossible in the past, this would have been impossible. The shop that Cai Hongming wants to see is located in the prosperous area of Wanda Plaza. The owner of the shop is not a businessman, but he sees that the domestic economy is in a mess and there are unlimited business opportunities abroad, so he wants to sell the house and invest. Farm investment in Canada, Australia, and the United States is in full swing. Many people in China have gone there to buy farms and even set up a Chinese Farmers Association to exchange what they have. Land is very cheap in Australia and Canada, especially in Australia. If you buy land and run it well, you can make a lot of money. The most important thing is that the land there is privately owned. After buying the land, it can be passed on to future generations. With the Chinese people's love for land, it's exciting to think about it. Besides, even if you don't run it, it's not bad to buy it and grow something yourself and spend the rest of your life there. Before coming to the store, the agent had already called the owner of the store. When Cai Hongming and his friends arrived, the man was already at the door. After chatting for a few words, the group walked into the store. The store area is okay, more than 300 square meters. But the owner of the store is a bit shady, and he actually asked for 50 million, which is really outrageous. But to be honest, buying a store here is equivalent to buying a chicken that lays eggs. As long as you sit there, you will have a steady supply of eggs to eat. So it's understandable that they sell it at a higher price. After Cai Hongming looked at it, he didn't say he didn't want to sell it, but just said he would go back and think about it. The man seemed to think the asking price was too high, so he took the initiative to say that he could reduce it a little. Cai Hongming nodded, said he would think about it and give him a reply in 2 days, and then he left. Then, he was taken by the intermediary woman to see several stores, but the results were not very ideal. Either the price was too high, or the location was not good, until he came to Jian'ai Wanda Plaza. This is a store located on Wanda Golden Street with an area of nearly 500 square meters. The price is not expensive, only 9 million, which is still very cheap. It's just that the area is too small, which goes against his idea of promoting his own agricultural products. It was also a coincidence that there was an 80 square meter store for sale next to this store. He went to see it and felt good, so he decided to buy it. He doesn't like to procrastinate. In the afternoon, he found a lawyer and signed a contract. He paid the money to transfer the house to his name. The rest is to wait for the store in Suzhou to be renovated to see how the effect is, and then decide how to renovate the store. After arriving in Nanjing, he has been busy with the store and has no mood to see the scenery of Nanjing. Now that the matter is done, he started to stroll around Nanjing. Nanjing, known as the ancient capital of 6 dynasties and metropolis of 10 dynasties, there should be many places of interest and historical sites. Unfortunately, during the anti-Japanese war, it was bombed by the devils, and in modern times, it was destroyed by some ignorant people, so there are very few real monuments. Most of them are modern antique buildings, which look very awkward. Cai Hongming went to Yuhuatei for a while, bought a bunch of Yuhua stones as souvenirs, and then hurried to Confucius Temple. Nanjing Confucius Temple, that is, Nanjing Confucius Temple, is located on Gangyuan Street on the north bank of Qinhui River. It is a place for worshipping Confucius, and is one of the 4 major Confucian temples in China. Confucius Temple was built in the 3rd year of Xiankang of Sima Yan, Emperor Cheng of the Eastern Jin Dynasty, and was changed to Confucius Temple in the 1st year of Jingao of Song Dynasty. From the 6 dynasties to the Ming and Qing dynasties, many aristocratic families gathered nearby, and there were flower boats everywhere on the Qinhui River, and the children of aristocratic families lived a luxurious and decadent life, so there was a saying of 6 dynasties gold powder. In the old days, this place was the cultural hub of Jiangnan and ancient China. It was a place where the history and humanities of Jinling gathered. It was not only the cultural and educational center of Nanjing during the Ming and Qing dynasties, but also the cultural and educational building complex that ranked first among the southeastern provinces. Fanli, Zhaoyu, Wandao, Xian, Li Bei, Du Mu, Wu Jingzi and hundreds of other famous military strategists, politicians, and writers have created immortal achievements here and written chapters that have been passed down through the ages. If you come to Confucius Temple and don't take a walk on the Qinhui River, it can be said that you have come in vain. Since ancient times, the reputation of the 10-mile Qinhui River can be said to have overshadowed everything in Nanjing. In the old days, when people mentioned Nanjing, they all thought of Qinhui. Standing by the Qinhui River, Cai Hongming's mind flew, thinking about the prosperous past, when flower boats were crisscrossed. Whenever the lights came on, countless poets and writers stepped into the flower boats and floated on the river, chanting poems, composing fu, listening to the piano, or meeting beautiful women. I think men at that time should be the happiest animals in the world. There are many stories about Qinhui River, including famous prostitutes, poets, generals, and scholars. Paying respect here makes people yearn for it and feel admiration. At this time, Cai Hongming couldn't help but think of Feng Fifu's song called By the Qinhui River. Tonight I have wine, and I'm drunk tonight. Tonight I'm drunk by the Qinhui River. The moon is reflected on the bottom of the waves, the lights are shining on the embankment, and the beautiful women are leaning on the railings, singing and dancing. For whom do I tell my love? For whom do I walk my steps of love? For whom do I express my sweet and tender feelings? For whom do I express them? For whom do I paint my cherry lips? For whom do I apply layers of rouge and powder? For whom do I pour my eyebrows and eyes? For whom do I pour my eyes? For whom do I pour my eyes? This song can be said to describe the scene of Qinhui River at that time. The Qinhui River at that time should have been famous all over the world. But now, the local government seems to think that that period of history is unbearable to look back, so it has specially done public relations. Now basically nothing about Qinhui River in the past can be found on the internet, and it may become a thing of the past in the future. Willows are planted by the river, and the breeze gently caresses the willow leaves. Cai Hongming thought, if he were to hold a fan and walk leisurely on the road, would he have a hint of a romantic talent? He couldn't help but be moved. He walked towards the cultural market next to the Confucius Temple. The cultural market is actually an antique market. The antique market in Nanjing Confucius Temple has a long history, but later it was not allowed to set up stalls, and the popularity gradually dissipated. It was not until the government allowed stalls on Saturdays and Sundays in recent years that it slowly recovered. Today happened to be Sunday, and the market was crowded. Here, if you simply want to buy something strange and unique to appreciate, it's no problem. If you want to buy an old thing and wait for it to appreciate, you might as well buy gold, which is more practical. At least in the most difficult years in the past, gold could buy things, and these antiques can only be regarded as a pile of broken copper and iron. There are stalls and shops in the market. Cai Hongming wanted to buy a fan to decorate his store, so he walked towards a shop that sold fans. To be continued, Chapter 115 Strange Seal. As soon as he entered the door, Cai Hongming saw a plaque with 3 big characters Rungsensei hanging above the lobby of the store. Below, an old man in his 60s or 70s was leaning back on a chair and reading a newspaper. Seeing someone coming in, the old man took a look and turned back to continue reading the newspaper. Cai Hongming didn't care and looked around. In fact, Rungsensei's main sales were not fans, but 4 treasures of the study, and also sold calligraphy and paintings, and fans were just one of the products sold. There are several types of fans here, some made of paper, some made of cloth, and some made of silk. Even the fan bones are different, including plastic, bone, bamboo, and wood. Some of the fan surfaces are painted, some are written, and some are left blank. The blank fan surface is mainly for some talented guests to write by themselves, or to help the guests write or draw what they like. He looked at it and bought a silk fan with a blank side, sandalwood as the bone, and the other side embroidered with a graceful and gentle lady. He had learned calligraphy from his grandfather before, and his handwriting was not very good, but not ugly either. So, he borrowed a brush and ink from the shop owner and wrote on the blank fan. After writing, he looked at it and felt something was strange. He looked at the fans next to him and found that one of the seals was missing. So, he asked the shop owner, "Boss, do you have any engraved seals here?" "Just kidding. How could there be no engraved seals on the antique street?" The shop owner glanced at him again and pointed to a wooden cabinet next to him, which was filled with some seals he had collected. Some were engraved incorrectly, but they were in good condition, so he thought it would be a pity to throw them away, so he put them there to sell. Cai Hongming walked to the cabinet and found that the seals were placed in a mess and not carefully taken care of. They were all covered with a thick layer of dust. But he was here to buy things, so it was none of his business, so he picked up a seal and looked at it. The words on the seals were all engraved on the reverse side. Some he recognized, some he didn't, so he had to ask the shop owner for advice. He looked at it with disdain. He probably thought to himself, what a low level. After looking at a few seals, he didn't like any of them, so he didn't want to waste any more time and planned to pick one at random. Who knew that at this moment, the jade bead between his eyebrows suddenly reacted. But the reaction was very dull, almost non-existent. If he hadn't been careful, he would have missed it. After the last incident with the jade pixie and the earth marrow, he found that, if it encountered something containing spiritual energy, the jade bead would glow. The more spiritual energy there is, the brighter the light it emits. On the contrary, it would remain motionless. Judging from the reaction of the jade bead now, it should be very rare for the item to contain spiritual energy this time, otherwise it should have reacted before entering the store. Not knowing which seal contained spiritual energy, he picked them up one by one to identify them, and finally found the breath that made the jade bead react on a strange seal. This seal is quite strange. There is a seal stone underneath, but it is covered with copper skin 1 centimeter above. The copper skin is covered with copper rust, which looks very strange. This time, he recognized the words on the seal, which were 8-foot man. Wow, what a broken seal. Such a strange name, but it fits the words he wrote. So, he took it and asked the shopkeeper, "How much is this seal?" The shopkeeper saw the seal he took and couldn't help but glance at him again. 500. Too expensive, boss. Look, the stone under this seal is not good, and there is a layer of copper on it. It's rusted like this, but you want such a high price. Can you make it cheaper? Of course, the shopkeeper knew that this seal was not a good product. He would not leave a good thing there to let it gather dust, so he conscientiously reduced the price by 20 yuan. Cai Hongming felt a toothache when he heard it. What the hell is 20 yuan? Boss, you are too stingy. You have the nerve to say 20 yuan off. 200, at most 200. If you are willing, I will buy it. If you are not willing, forget it. After Cai Hongming finished speaking, he was about to put the seal back. The shopkeeper saw it and quickly stopped him. It was rare for a fool to buy his pile of junk. Wouldn't it be a betrayal to the conscience of the industry if he didn't sell it? Cai Hongming paid the money and then borrowed the ink from him to print on the few words he wrote. The fan was indeed much better looking. After printing, he suddenly felt that the seal in his hand was strange, and the copper layer on the outside seemed to move. He pinched it, and perhaps because he used too much force, the copper layer actually loosened, and the seal stone on it fell out from inside. He hurriedly caught it with his hand, but found that the seal was really very wrong. The seal stone, originally covered with a layer of copper, was like an ordinary bluestone, with traces of time and mottled. But after taking off the copper layer, except for the 2 centimeters below, which was the same as the front, the stone on top was completely different from the stone below. The seal stone on top was golden in color, as crystal clear as amber, and when facing the sun, you could see a trace of nameless aura rolling inside, as if it was spiritual energy. But this spiritual energy was very little, and it was dispensable to him. After absorbing the earth marrow from the western frontier, the jade bead basically returned to normal, and was no longer in danger of breaking. He didn't have to worry about finding a way to absorb spiritual energy, so even though he knew that the jade bead would glow when it was close to something with spiritual energy, he was too lazy to look for it. He looked at the seal stone in his hand, and felt that the green stone below and the golden stone above were connected together, which looked very awkward. So he grabbed the 2 stones and tried to separate them. Stop. He was about to use force, and the dumbfounded boss next to him finally woke up and shouted as if his parents had died. The owner's name was Cai Hongming, and this family business was passed down from his ancestors. Elderly people have a generation gap with young people. So when Cai Hongming came in stupidly, he was not very happy, and when he saw him rashly buying a fan to write and a seal, he was even more unhappy. Who knew that this kid he didn't like was lucky enough to find a treasure from his pile of unused seals. He also saw it when Cai Hongming held the seal stone to the sunlight just now. The light really blinded his eyes. With his decades of experience, how could he not know what the stone in Cai Hongming's hand was? Cai Hongming came to Cai Hongming at a speed as fast as flying and asked sternly, "What do you want to do, kid? Separate them? Can you separate them like this? Do you know what this is? Do you know that doing this will break it? What if it breaks? Don't you feel bad?" Cai Hongming didn't know what to say to Cai Hongming's questions. I don't know if this old man has eaten rat poison, so he speaks so harshly. After speaking, Cai Hongming seemed to know that there was something wrong with his words, and quickly softened his tone and said, "Young man, come, put the things on the table and let me see." Cai Hongming thought, I won't lose anything if I take a look, and this old man can't take the things away from me, so he put the seal stone in his hand on the table. Cai Hongming didn't take it, but took out a magnifying glass from the side and looked at it over there. This seal stone is not an ordinary seal stone, but Cheyenne Huang among stones, and it is not an ordinary Cheyenne Huang stone, but the best among Cheyenne Huang stones, Cheyenne Huang Dang. Looking closely, the Cheyenne Huang frozen stone is crystal clear, warm, pure, and has a brilliant inner light. It conforms to the 6 virtues of seal stone: fine, clean, moist, greasy, warm, and condensed. It is worthy of being called the Emperor's Stone. Although Cai Hongming runs a shop, he has only seen this kind of top quality Cheyenne Huang frozen stone twice, once at an old friend's house, and once today. He wanted to buy the Cheyenne Huang stone from Cai Hongming, but unfortunately he was unable to do so with his financial resources. Even so, it would be nice to show off to his old friends after seeing it. Thinking of this, he picked up the phone and called his old friend. "Hey, Liu Kang. What are you doing? Come over here quickly, I have something good to show you. If you miss it, I won't care about you. Liu Xiao, are you at home? Come here, I guarantee that there is something here that is better than the pile of junk in your house. It will be a pity if you are late. Liu Tang, you want to drink tea again? Come over here, I will show you something good. I guarantee that you will drink tea with a fairy taste." After the fight, seeing Cai Hongming beside him, he remembered that the seal stone was his, and hurriedly said, "Young man, wait a moment, I will ask someone to come and take them down for you. This thing can't be handled casually, it will be a pity if it is damaged." After that, he went to make tea to entertain Cai Hongming. From being indifferent, when he came into being attentive now, Cai Hongming felt that the speed of this old man's change was comparable to the face changing of Sichuan opera. To be continued. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel. Mundo fanfic novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116, The Hermit of Zhongfeng, Part 1. The tea vapor was rising, and a cloud of tea floated out. Cai Hongming took the tea brewed by Cai Bugi with both hands, took a sip, and felt that it tasted good, so he asked, "What kind of tea is this? I don't think I've ever drunk it." "This is our Jinling specialty, Yuhua. It's normal that you haven't seen it before. Yuhua tea is emerald green in color, shaped like pine needles, with a fresh and elegant aroma and a mellow taste. It enjoys a high reputation in Nanjing. After Yuhua tea is poured into boiling water, it sinks immediately, and a piece of white hair will appear on the water surface. After brewing, the tea is emerald green and clear, with a faint aroma. Drinking a cup of it is refreshing, and leaves a fragrance on the teeth and cheeks. It is a rare delicacy." Cai Hongming sat on a chair next to the store to entertain guests, and tasted the Yuhua tea that Cai Bugi contributed like bloodletting. At this time, several people came outside. The first person walked into the shop and smelled the fragrance of tea and immediately shouted, "You are so good, old Cai. I usually ask you to bring some Minky and Yuhua to make tea, but you act like your life is cut off. Why did you bring it out today? If you don't explain clearly, we will break up. I don't have a friend like you. Be patient, you have a share too." Cai Bugi took out a few cups of brewed tea and handed them to his old friends one by one, but finally found that there was another person. "Hey, Zhao Kang, you are here too. I'm sorry, I didn't brew your tea. I will brew it for you next time you come." Kang Bohu, who was following behind the others, said quickly, it doesn't matter. I just drank tea, and I'm not thirsty." Although he said so, he couldn't help swallowing when he smelled the fragrance wafting in the room. But Cai Bugi stood firmly at the counter, obviously not intending to go in to make another cup of tea. Kang Guoxing, who came in first, looked at it and said to his son, "You old man, you even save tea for the younger generation. Aren't you too stingy?" Yuhua tea was created in the late 1950s. At first, it was mainly produced in the scenic gardens and scenic spots around Sun Yat-sen Mausoleum and Yuhua tea in Nanjing, and later expanded to the suburbs. The best Yuhua tea is the Minky and Yuhua. As the name suggests, it is made from young leaves picked before Qingming festival, just like Minky in Nanjing, and the taste is particularly mellow and fragrant. There are good and bad Minky and Yuhua. The best one is a tea forest growing at a spring beside the 19 ancient springs on May Ocean, which is known as the Shanking Sect altar and the first blessed land in the 8th cave heaven. This tea forest absorbs the water vapor of the clear spring in the mountain. The tea grown there is particularly sweet. Cai Bugi's tea is from the ancient spring. If he didn't have a friend in the Taoist temple over there who sent him some tea every year, he wouldn't be able to drink it at all. Therefore, he usually treasured the teas given by his friends, as if they were his life, and he was reluctant to drink them, let alone invite others to drink them. If it weren't for something he had to ask for today, it would be difficult to drink his tea. Hearing Kang Guoxing's words, Cai Bugi was too lazy to argue with him, and just took out the seal that had just fallen off the copper sheet to show him. It would have been fine if he hadn't looked at it, but when he did, Kang Guoxing's hands couldn't help shaking. "Dad, what's wrong with you?" His son Kang Bohu looked at him and said worriedly. Kang Guoxing took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and exhaled a breath of turbid air. He said calmly, "It's okay." But his hands were still shaking slightly. "Why are you shaking? Be careful not to break anything," Cai Bugi said dissatisfiedly beside him. At this time, Kang Guoxing didn't want to argue with him. He continued to look at the seal. Xiao Rusang and Tang Depan next to him were curious about his appearance, and they also leaned over to look. When they saw the seal, their eyes suddenly bulged out, and they became cross-eyed. After looking at it for a while, Kang Guoxing passed the seal in his hand to Xiao Rusang beside him. Then he asked Cai Bugi, "Old Cai, where did you get this Cheyenne Huang jelly?" Where else? From my home." "Impossible, I've been with you for so long. How come I've never seen it before?" "I haven't seen it either. This kid found it." Cai Bugi shouted this sentence. It's a bitter tear to say it, a good treasure was placed in his own cabinet, but he didn't find it for so long. To paraphrase Stephen Chow's classic words, once, there was a treasure in front of me, but I didn't cherish it. When I lost it, I regretted it. This is the most painful thing in the world. If God can give me another chance to start over, I will say 3 words to the treasure, that is, I love you. If I must add a time limit to this love, I hope it is 10,000 years. After listening to Cai Hongming's explanation of the whole process, Cai Hongming, who had not even glanced at Cai Hongming, couldn't help but look at him with admiration. Hey, kid, your eyes are quite sharp. Luck. Cai Hongming said modestly, but looking at his arrogant look as he vigorously fanned the fan with the 4 big characters "It's a good person," he didn't look modest at all. Cai Hongming is a national master in antiques, and has a lot of experience in repairing antiques. So after Xiao Rusang and Tang Depeng looked at the seal, he asked Cai Hongming to pour a cup of warm water and then soak the seal in it. Fortunately, it is old glue, not the current industrial glue, otherwise it would be difficult to deal with. Old glue is the glue prepared by the ancients, which is generally made of sticky juices secreted by plants, or contained in the plants, and colloids and sticky substances such as enamel bones and tendons. The thing on the seal is made of a mixture of animal glue and plant glue. Generally, this kind of glue is easy to handle. Just soak it in water for a while, or drip some acidic or alkaline substances on it. However, jade is afraid of acid and alkali, so Cai Hongming did not do it. After soaking for a while, the seal and the stone below were a little loose. Cai Hongming used a little force, and the 2 things separated, revealing a complete Xianhuang frozen seal. Looking at the seal again at this time, I feel that it is crystal clear, round and shiny, and it is invaluable. Cai Hongming, who next to him, didn't even breathe. His eyes were rolling, and I don't know what he was thinking. There were slight water stains on the seal, and Cai Hongming took a clean tissue from the side to wipe it before picking up the seal to look at it. Suddenly, he saw the 4 characters Zanfeng Hermit engraved under the seal. His hands couldn't help shaking again. Cai Hongming looked at him from the side and said contemptuously, "Old man, if you want to shake, go shake it aside and give me the thing." After that, he ignored Cai Hongming and grabbed the seal with one hand. But when he picked it up and looked at it, he was dumbfounded, and his hands couldn't help shaking. Cai Hongming next to him was puzzled. Could shaking be contagious? Xiao Rusang and Tang Depeng on the side knew that something was wrong from the looks of the 2 people, and hurriedly looked at the seal, their eyes fixed instantly. Cai Hongming, who also leaned over to take a look, but he didn't react when he saw the words on it, because he didn't know what the 4 words meant. But looking at the looks of the 3 of them, he knew that the seal had an extraordinary origin, and hurriedly thought about things related to Zanfeng Hermit in his mind. He remembered. Suddenly, his eyes bulged out, and his mouth opened incredibly wide. Nanjing, formerly known as Jinling, is the ancient capital of the 6 dynasties. In the old days, there was a saying that Jinling is the beautiful land of Jiangnan, and the imperial city of Jinling. Among these emperors, there was a poet with amazing talent, that is, the last emperor of the southern Tang dynasty, Li Yu, the emperor of poetry, with the courtesy named Changguang, and self-proclaimed Zhangyan, Zhangfeng Hermit, and Lianfeng Hermit. They couldn't help but be shocked when a seal engraved with Zhangfeng Hermit appeared here. If it is really proved that this Xianhuangdong is the imperial seal of Li Yu, the last emperor of the southern Tang dynasty, regardless of the value of this seal, its historical significance alone is extraordinary. To be continued, Chapter 117, The Hermit of Zhangfeng, Part 2. Cai Hongming looked at the seals for a while, and suddenly seemed to remember something, so he turned around and walked inside. After a while, he took out an old dusty book from the back, with the words Xiling Miscellaneous Stories printed on the front. Xiling was the abbreviation of the Xiling Seal Society in the old days. In the 30th year of Emperor Guangxu's reign in the Qing Dynasty, 1904, 4 seal carvers from the Zhejiang school, Ding Fuzhi, Wang Fuan, Yi Weiming, and Wu Yin, bought land and built a house next to the Shufeng Pavilion on Gushan Mountain in West Lake, and founded the Seal Society. At the end of the Qing Dynasty, the research and development of epigraphy was at its peak. Many famous epigraphers were determined to promote and develop the national quintessence, so they formed a society on the bank of Xiling Bridge on the southern foot of Gushan Mountain. People gather for seals, and the society is named after the place, so it was named Xiling Seal Society. Xiling Miscellaneous Stories is a record of many seals in the Xiling Seal Society. Cai Bugi carefully turned the pages of the book and followed his memory to the page where he saw the words written on it. In the past, the last ruler of the Southern Tang dynasty had a seal of top quality silver wrapped gold colored Cheyenne Huang jelly on which was engraved the words Zanfengyins. It is said that the characters can be combined into the word Yu, but it is unknown whether it is true or not. After the fall of the Southern Tang dynasty, the seal was returned to the Song dynasty. Emperor Taizu of Song dynasty regarded it as a plaything and threw it away. Later, it was obtained by eunuchs and flowed outside the palace, and its whereabouts disappeared. In the Ming dynasty, someone saw this seal in the house of Shen Wansen. Later, the Shen family was raided, the seal was lost, and its whereabouts disappeared again. Look, the inheritance is orderly, the inheritance is orderly. Cai Bugi pointed at the words on the book and said excitedly, the inheritance is orderly in antiques, is like a family tree, on which the main line, the side line and the branch line are branched, recorded one by one, and passed down from generation to generation. Until the change of dynasties, things are different and people are different. In the antique business, an item with an orderly inheritance is far more popular than an antique without any records. Then we have to prove that this is the seal. Kanggu Auction said. That's right. If we can't prove that this seal is the one used by Liu, no matter how many records there are, it will be useless. Who knows if it is a counterfeit by some unscrupulous merchant. People are so evil nowadays that they dare to copy anything and say it is the jade hairpin used by Yang Gifui. It's really weird. Suddenly, Cai Bugi thought of the records in the book and hurriedly picked up the seal. The seal was too old and the ink on it was dry. He took out a box of ink from the counter, dipped a little with the seal, and printed it on the white paper on the counter. Take a closer look. I saw that between the 4 characters printed with Zanfeng Hermit, there was a small character U, and the people behind took a breath of cold air. This is really the seal used by Liu. Cai Hongming didn't understand these things, he just watched the fun. Kang Bohu, who had been following the old men, looked at it, turned around suddenly, took out a business card from his pocket, and said to Cai Hongming, "Hello, Mr. K, I'm Kang Bohu, the business manager of Chengdu Auction House. Our company is preparing for an autumn auction. I wonder if you are willing to hand over this seal to our company for auction. Don't worry, our company is the top auction company in China, with a professional promotion team, and will definitely let your things get a good price." Cai Hongming glanced at him, and had to say that this guy had a good eye. Chinese people have always been very interested in this kind of emperor seal, because the emperor is a real dragon emperor, and the seal is the dragon seal. If you buy it and carry it with you, you can get a touch of dragon spirit. Otherwise, you can use it to protect your home and keep safe. Of course, some people are ambitious. They feel that they have the emperor's flavor when they hold this. If they use this as a gimmick to promote it, there will be no worries that no one will buy it. However, he didn't know the strength of this auction house, and it was impossible for him to give it to him, based on a few words. Seeing his hesitation, Kang Bohu added fuel to the fire. According to the rules of our auction house, such commissioned auction items should be charged 18%. If you are willing to auction the items to our auction house, I will reduce my personal commission by 3%. Kanggu Akshing, who was listening nearby, said for his son, "Don't worry, Bohu will never let you suffer a loss. If you have any problems, you can find me." After that, he took out a business card and handed it to Cai Hongming. Cai Hongming took it and saw that it was printed with titles such as Vice President of Nanjing Antiques Association, General Manager of Minqi Pavilion, Honorary Curator of Nanjing Museum, etc. He was a little short of money recently, so he was a little moved when he heard Kang Bohu's words. In addition, there were some good things in the jade beads, such as the antiques found in the sea last time, the red corals dug, and the mutton fat jade found in Hotten, etc., all of which could be auctioned. After thinking about it, he made an appointment with Kang Bohu to meet in Shenzhen, because their auction house headquarters was in Shenzhen. During this time, he had to sort out his treasures and see what to auction. Seeing that nothing was wrong, He took the seal back. Several old men stared at his hand holding the seal, which made him feel a little chilled. They didn't give up yet and wanted to treat Cai Hongming to a meal, but he didn't want to, so he took the things and ran away. After leaving Nanjing, he didn't rush to Shanghai, but went to Yangzhou. The winter plum he dug from the bottom of the sea still lacked a base, so he wanted to ask Master Yu Fihang, who helped him carve the black jade good last time, to carve one with Hetian jade. He believed that the fiery red coral against the white jade base must be very pleasing to the eye, and it might be auctioned at a high price. After arriving in Yangzhou, Cai Hongming did not go directly to Yu Fihang's house, but called him at the hotel to come over. He took out the half-meter high winter plum-shaped red coral and some Hetian jade from the jade beads, and waited in the room. After a while, Yu Fihang arrived, and Cai Hongming welcomed him into the room. "I'm sorry to bother Master Yu with this trip. It's nothing. Why don't you go home? The old man is still nagging when he hears you're here. It's inconvenient for me to carry things. I'll go to see the old man another day." As soon as he sat down, Yu Fihang saw the winter sweet coral on the table. He was instantly attracted by the bright red color and couldn't help but reach out and touch it gently. He didn't dare to use too much force because the coral branches were brittle and he was afraid of hurting them. "You won't ask me to carve this coral? That won't work. It's too much of a waste of natural resources." "Absolutely not. How could that be? I want to make this coral into a decoration. I plan to ask you to help me carve a base with these jades. What do you think?" Cai Hongming explained. "This is pretty good." Yu Fihang nodded and looked carefully at the Hetian white jade on the table. These are all fine products of Hetian white jade, but they are a little worse than the famous top-grade mutton fat jade of Hetian, but they are more than enough to carve a base. Yu Fihang also had an occupational disease. After looking at the white jade, he took out a mini tape measure from his pocket and measured the size of the coral. After a while, everything was measured. "Master Yu, come and have some tea." Cai Hongming presented a cup of hot tea with both hands, and Yu Fihang took it and thanked him. "I wonder when this base will be ready. It doesn't require any skills. If you need it urgently, I'll rush it, and it should be ready within 3 days. Thank you for your hard work. We are so familiar with each other. Why are you being polite? You really don't want to come to my house and sit down?" "I have something else to do, so I won't go." "Okay, that's it. I'll leave first." "Don't sit for a while." "No, I have to go back to help you make things." After that, Yu Fihang left with the Hetian jade given by Cai Hongming. After seeing Yu Fihang off, Cai Hongming put away the red coral on the table. Feeling bored in the room alone, he walked out and planned to stroll around the old streets and alleys of Yangzhou. To be continued, chapter 119. Meet again. The beauty of Yangzhou is inexhaustible. The ancients wrote many poems about Yangzhou, such as Yangzhou in March with fireworks, riding a crane to Yangzhou, a dream of Yangzhou every 10 years, winning the reputation of being fickle in the brothel. The evening mist grows deep in the trees, and the setting sun shines on the small building. Who knows that the bamboo road to the west, singing and playing is Yangzhou. The spring breeze on the 10-mile Yangzhou road is not as good as the rolled up pearl curtain. And so on, and there are many more. It is impossible to describe them all here. It is the end of summer, the hottest season of the year. Women on the street wish they could wear only a few things to get rid of the summer heat. Transparent and narrow clothes make these beautiful and gentle women in the water town become as charming as flowers. Looking at their graceful figures, people's hearts ripple like waves. According to legend, after Dao controlled the flood, he divided the world into 9 states, and Yangzhou was one of them. But Yangzhou's popularity should have started since Emperor Yang of Sui went to Yangzhou, an ancient canal road. The whole city is full of palace brocade, willow catkins flying, white flowers enchanting, and cosmetics everywhere. Just thinking about its grandeur makes people yearn for it and wish they were born at that time. Yangzhou used to be a political and commercial center, and it was also a good place to live. Literati, officials, merchants and wealthy people have always liked to live in Yangzhou. They each got what they liked here, built gardens and managed forests, chanted poems and wrote essays, and lived a carefree life like a paradise. Du Mu, a poet in the Tang dynasty, served as the secretary of the Huayan and Jidashi in Yangzhou. The biography of Du Mu records, Du Mu was in Yangzhou, and he went to narrow and oblique tours every night. He was happy wherever he went, and he was like this for several years. He himself wrote in a poem, "I'm down and out in the rivers and lakes, carrying wine, and my slender waist is light in my palm. I have a dream of Yangzhou for 10 years, and I have won the reputation of being fickle in the brothel." There is also a poem with a waist of 100,000. I ride a crane to Yangzhou. Thinking about the life of the ancients at that time, people can't wait to travel through the past and turn themselves into the masters of that time. Taste carefully. You will find that the ancient city of Yangzhou is like a beautiful girl from a small family, a slender and charming lady from a famous family. With her unique and charming gentleness, she inadvertently reveals her wealth, easygoing, traditional, comfortable, and considerate in a calm and light manner, which will make you have endless aftertaste. Since ancient times, there must be magical herbs in famous mountains. So, where there are beautiful scenery and beautiful women, there must be delicious food. This is also the case. There is no need to say much about the beautiful scenery and beauties in Yangzhou. The reputation of its specialty, Huoyang cuisine, is even more well known. You must try it when you go to Yangzhou. In addition, there are also famous tea houses and various famous fine snacks. If you can steal half a day of leisure from your life, hire a boat that really looks like a slice of watermelon to swing in the slender West Lake, and you may meet a beautiful boat girl dressed in fresh, gentle and affectionate clothes. Cai Hongming was wandering around Yangzhou with such thoughts in mind. In this city full of ancient charm, he never went to the streets made of cement and steel, and often liked to walk slowly in the old streets and alleys with ancient flavor. Because in such places, there are often rare discoveries, such as the ancient eaves, the paintings under the old houses, and the carvings that he saw accidentally. They are all full of surprises. He wandered around casually, and when he was hungry, he found an old restaurant to eat. The food was really good. After a rest after the meal, he walked slowly along the inner river of Yangzhou again. There are old houses on both sides of the river, some of which have been renovated. The local government seems to have put in a lot of effort. The walls are all plastered with white lime. The white walls and grey tiles, against the willows by the river and the flowing water, look very poetic. Cai Hongming took the fan he bought, fanning himself and swaying as he walked. It was very comfortable. After walking about a few hundred meters, a group of people suddenly appeared in front of him. They gathered at the door of a house to watch the excitement, and there was a burst of shouting and cursing from inside, and he was curious. He walked over. "Where's the money? Where's the money? Don't tell me you don't have any money. I'll beat you to death. I'll beat you to death, you big bad guy. Let your mother go." As he approached, Cai Hongming looked inside and saw a man grabbing a woman's long hair and cursing loudly over there. The woman lowered her head and just cried. A little girl next to her kept hitting the man with a small plastic shovel. Seeing that the man didn't let go, she threw the shovel away, hugged the man's leg and bit it hard. "Ah, let go, let go, ah, let go." The man grabbed the girl away and looked at the leg that was bitten and bleeding, and he was full of anger. "Fuck, you dare to bite me? Don't think I don't dare to hit you. Today I must teach you a lesson." As he said, he raised his hand and wanted to hit the little girl. The woman who was originally grabbed by his hair hurriedly hugged the little girl tightly in her arms, fearing that she would be beaten. The little girl was not afraid of her. She puffed her little mouth and stared at him angrily. Still looking, the man angrily hit him and suddenly felt his hand being grabbed. Turning around, he saw a young man. "What are you doing?" "She is my wife." "What does it have to do with you if I hit my child?" "Let go. I'm not your wife. We divorced a long time ago." The crying woman with her head down shouted loudly at this time, and then burst into tears again. The sound was desolate and miserable, and it was heartbreaking. "You are not my father. I don't have a father like you." The girl in the woman's arms also shouted loudly. "Even if you are her husband, so what? Do you still have shame to hit a woman and her child like this?" Cai Hongming shouted angrily. "What I do is none of your mother's business. Get out of here quickly, or I will hit you too." The man cursed viciously, but he obviously cursed the wrong person. Seeing that he kept swearing, Cai Hongming suddenly stabbed his ribs with a finger. In an instant, the man felt an unspeakable pain in his ribs and immediately squatted on the ground and wailed, unable to speak anymore. After howling for a while, seeing that Cai Hongming was not easy to mess with, he ran away quickly. The crowd watching him leave said, "This guy is such a jerk." That's right. He's so shameless to ask for money after a divorce. I've always thought he's a jerk, but I didn't expect him to be so jerk. So you should be careful when you marry someone. It's better not to marry than to choose such a person. After the incident, the crowd gradually dispersed. The woman was still crying on the ground, so Cai Hongming took out a tissue from his pocket and handed it to her. "Are you okay?" The little girl seemed to recognize him and called him uncle. Cai Hongming touched her head with pity. These two people were the mother and daughter of Cao Yangxiang, who sold him the gemstone inlaid gold jewelry when he came to Yang's house last time, but he didn't expect to meet like this. Cao Yangxiang also recognized him, wiped her tears, stood up, and said, "I'm sorry to make you laugh. Come in and sit." When they came to the house, they saw a mess with broken things everywhere. Cao Yangxiang quickly cleaned it up, made a cup of tea, and handed it to Cai Hongming, and sat quietly aside with her daughter in her arms. His face was haggard, his eyes were lonely, and no one knew what he was thinking. "What's the matter? Didn't you get divorced? Why is he still pestering you?" Cai Hongming asked. When Cao Yangxiang heard his question, 2 lines of tears flowed down again. She didn't want this to happen, but who knew that the bastard got the news that she had sold the gold jewelry from somewhere and actually ran to her to ask for money, saying that it was premarital property and he wanted half of it. It was ridiculous. These were things passed down from her ancestors, not premarital property. Besides, he came in empty-handed. When he came in, how could he have anything? That's it. So she didn't give him a penny. After the bastard came again and again and didn't get the money, he started to scold her. Unexpectedly, he actually started to fight today, making her embarrassed in front of everyone. If it weren't for her daughter, she really wanted to jump into the river and end it all. It looks like he won't give up. What are you going to do? Take it one step at a time. I'm a woman. What can I do? Woo woo woo. Cao Yangxiang started crying again. It is said that women are made of water, and it is true. From the moment she came in until now, Cai Hongming saw that she had been crying non-stop. He did not know if there was a water pipe connected to the back, otherwise where did all the water come from? This woman was also pitiful, a typical case of being treated badly. Cai Hongming felt pity for her, thought for a while, and said, "I wonder if you are willing to live somewhere else." Well, hearing his words, Cao Yangxiang looked up at him curiously. "My hometown was originally in southern Fujian, and later moved to the northwest. My father opened a pharmacy there to treat bone injuries, and I have a snack bar and a large farm. If you are willing, you might as well come to help me. Live in a different environment, so that that person will not come looking for you again. It will also give your daughter a good space to grow up, so as not to leave a psychological shadow. What do you think?" Cao Yangxiang did not expect him to say this. Although she had no attachment to this place, it was after all where she had lived since she was a child. She was hesitant to leave for a while. Seeing her like this, Cai Hongming said, "You can also go and take a look first. If you don't feel good, you can come back. Just think of it as a trip to relax." Cao Yangxiang thought about it and felt that it would be good to go out and avoid that bastard, so she agreed. In order to prevent that man from coming back to cause trouble, Cai Hongming asked her to take her daughter to stay in a hotel. Thinking that she would have to leave sooner or later, Cao Yangxiang hardened her heart, packed up her things, and left with him. Sure enough, after they left for a while, the man came back with a few people. It's a pity that Cao Yangxiang and her daughter had already left with Cai Hongming, so they escaped. To be continued. Chapter 125 Blessings. 3 days passed in a flash. At about 9 o'clock the next day, Yu Fihong brought his apprentice and a bunch of things to knock on the door of Cai Hongming's hotel room. "Master Yu, it's so early, have you eaten yet?" As soon as he opened the door and saw that it was Yu Fihong, Cai Hongming hurriedly invited him in. "I have eaten. Take out the coral and try it out. If it doesn't fit, I can take it back and modify it." Cai Hongming turned around and pretended to go to the guest room to get something, but in fact he took out the winter plum shaped coral from the jade bead. It was the first time that his apprentice saw such a brightly colored coral, and he held his breath for a moment. Yuffie Hang just brought him here to see the world, but he didn't dare to let him start, so he drove him to a corner to prevent him from damaging the coral with his clumsy hands and feet. You know, the price of a perfect coral and a broken coral is very different. Wait for Cai Hongming to arrange the coral. Yuffie Hang took a small tape measure and compared the diameter of the carved base with the diameter of the coral root. Seeing that there was still a difference, he took out the tools to modify it until it was almost the same. Then he gently picked up the coral and placed it in the base. It was called a base, but it was actually a basin, and the winter sweet coral was the flower. Yuffie Hang placed the coral in the white jade basin and looked at it. He took out a small bag from the things he brought and took out a handful of coarse jade sand of different colors and sprinkled it on the root of the coral. These jade sands were the useless scraps left after he carved for others, and now they were just used as a foil for the red coral. After sprinkling, he stepped back a few steps to take a look and then nodded with satisfaction. At this time, a ray of sunlight shone in from outside. The light shone on the red coral, the fat white jade basin and the colorful jade sand, reflecting a strand of bright light. Cai Hongming then saw that there were 5 bats carved on the jade basin, and the bats were inlaid with gold. How is it this jade plate is okay? Seeing Cai Hongming's shocked expression, Yuffie Hang said with some pride, "That's great." Yuffie Hang laughed happily and asked his apprentice to take out a wooden base from the things he brought. Then he put the coral on it. After he was done, he walked over and pressed the wooden base, and the base began to rotate slowly. With this rotation, the golden bat seemed to come alive, flapping its wings and flying, and the colorful light of the coral became more gorgeous, dazzling and brighter as it rotated. "Master, you are really ingenious," Cai Hongming exclaimed in disbelief. No, Yuffie Hang said modestly. "This coral has always been regarded as a symbol of auspiciousness and happiness, representing nobility and power, and a symbol of happiness and eternity. In addition, with my specially carved 5 blessings basin, some people should like it." "Thank you, Master Yu. You're welcome. I'm here to make a living." At noon, Cai Hongming invited Yuffie Hang and his apprentice to have a big meal at the hotel and asked him to help carve a few pieces of jade that he had carefully selected from the jade beads into a statue of Guanyin stepping on a beast. Ever since he found those jades in Hotan, he had never known what to do with them until he met Kang Bohu a few days ago. He might as well carve the jade into something and then auction it at an auction house. This would be more profitable than simply selling jade. Although he had to pay for carving and auction commissions, these costs were not proportional to what he got. After sending Master Yuffie Hang away, he booked a plane ticket and went to Shenzhen with Cao Yongxiang and Shanshan. He had been with them for the past few days, which made them closer to each other and less alienated, especially after taking Shanshan out for a few walks. After eating a few meals, the little guy was even more affectionate to him. It was already afternoon when he arrived in Shenzhen. Cai Hongming was not in a hurry to contact Kang Bohu and found a hotel to stay in first. He had been to Shenzhen several times, but he had never had the chance to see the beauty of the Bund in Shenzhen, so this time he simply stayed at the Peace Hotel on the Bund, which has a history of more than 100 years. It was the first time he had been to such a place. Cao Yongxiang and Shanshan seemed a little hesitant. Cai Hongming took a look and realized that he was careless. The mother and daughter lived frugally in Yangzhou and had always lived frugally. They might not buy new clothes once a year, so the clothes they wore were not very good. They were out of tune with the environment here. Although others might not look at them with prejudice, they would inevitably feel inferior in their hearts. So, after settling down, he took them to buy 2 sets of clothes. The price was a bit expensive. Cai Hongming originally wanted to pay, but Cao Yongxiang refused, so he had to follow her. But when Cao Yongxiang paid, her face was all grimaced, and it was estimated that she was almost bleeding from the pain. After buying clothes, the mother and daughter became energetic and ran back to the room to try on clothes. This tossing took more than an hour, causing Cai Hongming to sit alone in the room waiting with his stomach growling. If the two hadn't come to knock on the door at the last minute, he would have almost starved to death. It is said that Buddha needs golden clothes, and people need clothes to wear. It is true. As soon as Cai Hongming and her daughter came over, Cai Hongming felt that they were very different from before. Looking at Shanshan in a pink dress, she was as beautiful as a little princess, while Cai Hongming, wearing a dress made of expensive fabrics, looked like a graceful and noble woman. If it weren't for the trace of vicissitudes on her face, he couldn't believe that she used to sell things in the market. Sure enough, women are fickle animals. Uncle, do you think Shanshan is pretty? Shanshan flew in front of Cai Hongming and asked arrogantly. Pretty? Shanshan is the prettiest, Cai Hongming said with a smile. Shanshan jumped for joy when he heard it, and finally tilted his little head and asked, what about mom? Is mom pretty? Pretty, mom is as beautiful as Shanshan. Mom, listen, uncle also said you are beautiful. As beautiful as Shanshan. Shanshan heard it, and turned to his mother. Cai Hongming blushed slightly and immediately responded unhappily, I know, you are the only one who talks too much. It was getting late, so Cai Hongming went to the Chinese restaurant with the mother and daughter to eat. How could they not eat the best food in Shenzhen when they were here? So, Cai Hongming took the menu and ordered an 8 treasure duck without even looking at it. This 8 treasure duck can also be called glutinous rice 8 treasure duck. It is made by stuffing chicken, chestnuts, winter bamboo shoots, mushrooms, lotus seeds, ham and other things into the duck's stomach, and steaming it until crispy. After it is done, the duck meat is crispy and tender, rich and fragrant, with rich juice and fresh taste, which is very delicious. In addition to the 8 treasure duck, there is also a braised eel dish, which is made by stewing eel with braised pork, chestnuts and other things. The taste is also good. There are also soup dumplings, which are famous in the Jiangsu and Zhejiang areas. After ordering a few things here and there and some vegetables, Cai Hongming asked someone to serve the dishes. As for the opinions of Cai Hongming and her daughter, he did not ask. The taste in Yangzhou is the same as here, and they are not picky eaters, so they should like what he ordered. Sure enough, when the dishes came, Shanshan began to get restless, swallowing saliva, staring at the dishes with shining eyes. Seeing this, Cai Hongming, the mother, felt embarrassed. When Cai Hongming smiled and said to start eating, she quickly picked up the chopsticks and took the dishes she liked. In an instant, her little mouth was stuffed full. The meal was so delicious that her belly was full. Shanshan had never eaten such a big meal before, and she ate too much at once. She sat on the chair holding her belly and touching it with a sad face, which made people smile. To be continued. Chapter 121, Mistress. When night falls, the lights on the skyscrapers along the Bund are all on. The flashing neon lights on the roofs of Jinmao Tower and Shangri-La Hotel are like the crown of the queen, brilliant and dazzling. At this moment, the beautiful Bund finally reveals her charming brilliance and enchanting grace in this enchanting night. Because they ate too much at night, Cai Hongming simply took Cai Hongming and her daughter out for a walk. Fanshan, who was originally holding her stomach and yelling that she was full, was immediately attracted when she saw the dazzling night view outside. She kept pulling her mother to ask curious questions, and she was very excited. The ships passing by on the Huangpu River were decorated with colorful lights, like palaces and dragon boats. Each ship has different shapes and changes. At this time, the Huangpu River can be said to have become a flowing ribbon. The high-rise buildings of various shapes on both sides of the river are like diamonds inlaid on the ribbon. The most dazzling of these diamonds is the Oriental Pearl Tower. The tower is conical, composed of 2 spheres above and below, supported by a steel frame in the middle. The Oriental Pearl Tower is particularly eye-catching at night. The lights on the 2 huge spheres flicker and change colors constantly, which is extremely beautiful. In the evening breeze, it is a wonderful enjoyment to walk on the Bund and enjoy the beautiful night view. After walking a few steps, the 3 of them came to the famous number 18 Bund. Number 18 Bund was originally the location of the British Bank. The British Bank, which was the first foreign bank to enter China. Soon after, it became the headquarters of the British Standard Chartered Bank in China. Later, it was called Macquarie Bank after the Chinese transliteration of the name of John McKellar, the first manager of the Shanghai branch of Standard Chartered Bank. After liberation, the Shanghai branch of the Macquarie Bank was merged into the Hong Kong branch. In 1955, the Shanghai Housing Management Department took over the building and renamed it Chunjiang Building. Later, it was used by Shanghai Home Textile Company, Sino-Polish Shipping Company, Shanghai Fisheries Bureau and Fisheries Association and other departments. Later, Shanghai Hengai Real Estate Management Co. Limited took over the place and completed it at the end of 2004 after 2 years of renovation. It began to operate under the name of No 18 Bund. After 2 years of renovation, number 18 The Bund has become a top-level comprehensive consumer building that integrates world fashion brand flagship stores, internationally renowned restaurants, bars, and art galleries. Cai Hongming has never been inside, but now that he has some money in his pocket, he wants to go and take a look. It's not that you can't go in without money, but without money in your pocket, you can't help but feel scared. It is said that money is the courage of heroes, and it is nothing more than this. So, he took Cao Yongxiang and Shanshan to number 18 The Bund. Pushing open the two-color bronze door of number 18 The Bund, the ground underfoot is a round pattern paved with broken marble. Looking up, you can see that the ceiling is evenly arranged with square reliefs. Not far away, several glittering ancient Greek marble columns stand majestically and quietly on both sides of the lobby. At a glance, Cai Hongming felt that this place was full of elegance and nobility. If it weren't for the extra money in his pocket, and the fact that the clothes he wore when he went out were a tasteful modified hanfu specially designed by his wife, he wouldn't dare to step on the floor here. He felt a little ashamed of himself. As soon as Shanshan entered the door, she was attracted by everything dazzling in front of her. Cao Yongxiang was also attracted by it. In such a high-end place, she was inevitably a little hesitant. After a long time, she said to Cai Hongming, "I won't buy anything." She didn't need to look to know that everything sold here was very expensive. Although she had some savings, she didn't dare to spend it. Shanshan won't buy anything either. Zio Shanshan also echoed beside her. "Don't worry, we won't sell, just look." Hearing Cai Hongming's words, Cao Yongxiang was relieved. The first and second floors of number 18 The Bund are world-class luxury clothing, accessories and jewelry stores. Representing the consumption concept of the elite group, it also allows every guest who lingers here to overlook the elegant atrium and the dazzling chandeliers. It instantly became a place of fame and fortune full of clothing and jewelry. The 4th to 7th floors bring together gourmet food and bars from all over the world. The 5th and 6th floors are both ranked in the top 50 restaurants in the world. The terrace on the 7th floor has become a must-visit place for enjoying nightlife in Shanghai. This is actually the fashion landmark of Shanghai, a microcosm of this city that makes people indulge in luxury and eccentricity, a fascinating world of fame and fortune. Cai Hongming, Cao Yongxiang, Shanshan and the other three were walking in the hall. All the luxury brands that they had heard of before were available here, and some were even unheard of, and the prices were frighteningly high. They had never thought that a small thing would cost tens of thousands, and some were more than tens of thousands. This was easier to earn than robbery. Cao Yongxiang looked at the price and found that her pitiful savings of more than 100,000 yuan could only buy a few bags here. I originally thought that more than 100,000 yuan was a lot, but now it seems that it is actually pitifully small. Yi, come here quickly, look who that is. Yanling and Yi had a rare leisure time to go shopping today, but they unexpectedly ran into Cai Hongming and hurriedly called to the sisters who were trying out cosmetics on the side. "Who is it?" Yi came over and asked curiously. "Look over there." Yi looked in the direction of her finger. "Hey, isn't that Chu Chu's husband Cai Hongming? Why is he here? Who are the woman and child beside him? Do you think it could be his mistress outside?" Yanling whispered. No way." Yi's eyes widened when she heard it. He has only been married to Chu Chu for a year. How could there be a mistress? Besides, the child is so big. If there is, it should be our Chu Chu who is the mistress. No, I must tell Chu Chu about this. Yanling was anxious and picked up the phone to make a call. "Don't mess around. Chu Chu is pregnant now. If something happens, you will be finished." "Then what do you think we should do?" "I think we should go up and ask directly, so as not to be suspicious here." Yanling thought for a while and said, "Okay, let's go." If it is really his mistress outside, let me see how I will deal with him. After that, she walked towards Cai Hongming angrily, walked close to him, and stretched out her hand to pat his shoulder. Cai Hongming felt as if someone was behind him, and turned around suddenly, only to find that it was Yanling and Yi Yi. Yanling's outstretched hand suddenly stopped in midair, feeling extremely embarrassed. But she was also a carefree person, so she immediately stretched her hand back and asked, "Why are you here? I came here to do something, and you guys came to shop too." "Yeah," Yanling responded, and then looked at Cao Yongxiang and asked, "Who is?" "This is Sister Yan. She wants to go to my place to play, so we went together." "This is her daughter Shanshan." Cai Hongming taught Shanshan to call Shanshan, call her auntie. Yanling heard and hurriedly stopped him. "What auntie? Call her sister." "Sister?" Cai Hongming's face turned strange. "What else do you think? Don't you see that my little face is so tender that it's almost dripping with water? Standing with her, people think we are sisters. Calling her auntie makes you look much older all of a sudden. People thought you just graduated from kindergarten." Cai Hongming couldn't help but sigh in his heart. If this woman really becomes shameless now, she is really too shameless. To be continued. Chapter 122. A Tang Dynasty tortoise turtle inlaid mother of pearl lotus and mandarin duck octagonal dressing box. Finally, Shanshan had to call Yanling and Yi Yi's sister. Yanling seemed to be very happy to be Shanshan's sister, so she took Shanshan to buy things without saying anything. At this time, Cai Hongming vaguely remembered that his wife seemed to have this disease. "I remember that time in Gilang, she seemed to ask Ye to call her sister." Alas, these women are really speechless. After a while, two big women were seen holding the hands of a little woman and carrying a bunch of things. Shanshan, who was still very unfamiliar with the two, was already happily calling sister sister. I don't know what they bribed this little girl to make her mouth so sweet. After seeing the things Yanling and Yi Yi bought for her daughter, Cao Yongxiang felt that they were too expensive and didn't dare to accept them. Unexpectedly, the two didn't care about these and stuffed the things into her. "Okay, you guys continue shopping. We have an appointment, so we'll leave first." After that, Yanling pulled Yi Yi away. Just at that moment, they had already known everything from Shanshan. He also knew the experience of Cao Yongxiang and Shanshan, and felt very embarrassed to treat Cao Yongxiang as a mistress, so he bought so many things to compensate. "This? How can I be so embarrassed? These things are so expensive. Hongming, how about you help me return them?" "What? They are all wealthy women. They have a lot of money. If you think about it this way, even if they don't buy these, they will spend money on cosmetics and other messy things. You take these to help them and save them from spending money indiscriminately. I think they are all very good, not like you said." Cao Yongxiang said strangely. Since there is no way to return it, she had to accept it and then give them some gifts in return when she sees them in the future. Last night, Cai Hongming called Kang Bohu, and the next morning, he came with several appraisers. Cai Hongming was well prepared. He went into the room and took out the items he wanted to auction. This time, he specially found a few items from the pile of things he fished out from the bottom of the sea last time, making up 4 items for auction. One is the jade seal that Li Yu bought in Nanjing last time for his own use. One is a winter sweet coral. One is a set of items carved from rhino horns, a rhino horn pot and 8 rhino horn cups. And one is a tortoiseshell inlaid mother of pearl lotus and mandarin duck 8-sided dressing box. When Kang Bohu heard Cai Hongming mention a few auction items last night, he thought he was joking. Now he was shocked when he saw it. Several appraisers were relatively calm. After he took out the things, they began to appraise. The seal had been appraised in Nanjing, and this was just a formality. See if it is the original one, and whether it has been counterfeited. After all, it is difficult to say about such things. Who knows, some greedy guy might turn around and have someone carve one to fool people. However, with the texture of the seal, it is estimated that it is also difficult to counterfeit. You should know that there are almost no top-grade Cai and Hoang jelly that is still preserved now, and no one is willing to take it out to counterfeit it. After all, the top-grade Cai and Hoang jelly itself is worth a lot of money. It is also easy to identify coral, mainly to see whether it is natural or not. As for historical value, it is definitely not. These are all new things. The auction of such things is based on personal preference. If you like them, the price will be high. If no one wants them, it will be difficult to sell them at a high price. The most rare is the set of rhino horn products. Although they look new, you can tell at a glance that they are old. What is rare is that there is a whole set. There is no such thing on the market. It should be able to sell for a good price at the autumn auction this time. The tortoise shell inlaid with mother of pearl lotus mandarin duck 8-sided dressing box is even rarer. The ancient name of the hawksbill turtle is Mao and Wenjia. It is a sea turtle living in the deep sea of tropical seas. Because of its long lifespan, and there are 13 shield-shaped scales on its back, arranged in 3 rows like tiles, so it is also called 13 scales and longevity turtle. Because of this, the hawksbill turtle is also regarded as a symbol of auspiciousness, longevity, and warding off evil, and bringing good fortune. Like ivory and rhino horn, the hawksbill turtle is an organic gem. Its scales are crystal clear, with clear and beautiful patterns and soft and bright colors. The jewelry made of it is dazzling. It is magnificent and noble and elegant. It has unique effects. If worn on the body, it can avoid dew and wind evil. It can be used as medicine to clear away heat and detoxify, calm shock and eliminate rheumatism. Therefore, it has always been loved by royal nobles, wealthy people and ordinary people. According to the records of the Grand Historian, biography of Chun Shenjun, Xiaoping Yuanjun sent someone to Chun Shenjun. Chun Shenjun stayed in his upper residence. The Zhao envoy wanted to show off to Chu, so he made a tortoiseshell hairpin, and decorated his sword and knife room with pearls and jade, and asked Chun Shenjun to invite guests. Chun Shenjun had more than 3,000 guests, and all of his upper guests wore pearl shoes, to meet the Zhao envoy, which made the Zhao envoy very ashamed. The general meaning of this passage is that when the Xiaoping Yuanjun's envoy went to Chu, he wore a tortoiseshell hairpin and a sword inlaid with pearls and jade to show off to Chun Shenjun. As a result, when he met Chun Shenjun's 3,000 guests, everyone wore shoes inlaid with big pearls to meet the guests. From this, we can see that tortoiseshell ornaments were very common as early as the Warring States period. There is a line in the famous Han Dynasty poem The Peacock Flies Southeast that says silk shoes on the feet, tortoiseshell on the head. In the Tang Dynasty, tortoise shells were used to make coins, the Kao and Tang Bao coins, which were very valuable and only 13 of them existed in the world. Empress Wu Zetian of the Tang Dynasty also used tortoise shells to make tortoise shell bracelets and earrings, combs, fans, piano boards, hairpins and other items. People in the Song Dynasty loved tortoise shells even more. They imitated the patterns and colors of tortoise shells to create beautiful and realistic black glazed porcelain with tortoise shell spots. In the Ming and Qing dynasties, the use of tortoise shell products seemed to be more common. From the jewelry worn by concubines in the palace to the study playthings of literati and scholars, such as small screens, vases, incense burners, pen holders, seal boxes, glasses cases, glasses frames, and even bracelets, fans, and powder boxes used by singing girls and dancers, all were made of tortoise shells. However, tortoise shells are animals after all, and the things made from them are easily eaten by insects, so very few have been handed down from generation to generation, and most of what we see today are items from the Ming and Qing dynasties. The appraiser did not expect to see such a large and well-preserved tortoise shell inlaid with mother-of-pearl lotus and mandarin duck octagonal dressing box here. The tortoise shell inlaid with mother-of-pearl lotus and mandarin duck octagonal dressing box is a style favored by the Tang people. In addition, the appraiser himself had seen a broken Tang dynasty dressing box in the Forbidden City, so after taking a look, he already understood it in his mind. However, as an appraiser of an auction house, everything must be done with caution. He took out a carbon-14 testing instrument that was not small, and then took out a small knife, carefully scraped a little powder from the mother-of-pearl of the tortoise shell inlaid with mother-of-pearl lotus and mandarin duck octagonal dressing box, and put it on the instrument. The so-called mother-of-pearl refers to the general term for decorative techniques that use snail shells and seashells to grind thin slices of figures, flowers and birds, geometric figures or text, and inlay them on the surface of objects according to the needs of the picture. Because of this, it is more reliable to use mother-of-pearl to identify the age. If it is a tortoise, it will not work. After all, sea turtles have a long lifespan, and it is not a problem to live for hundreds or thousands of years. If it has lived for a long time, when it is made into an object, it will be much worse for dating. The result of the test was as expected by the appraiser. It was indeed an item from the Tang dynasty. When Cai Hongming heard that the tortoiseshell inlaid mother of pearl lotus mandarin duck 8-sided dressing box was an item from the Tang dynasty, he couldn't help but touch the beard growing on his chin. How could it be from the Tang dynasty? The things he fished out from the boat were clearly from the Song dynasty, and the copper coins were also copper coins from the Song dynasty. It was really strange. However, he didn't intend to explain it to them clearly. Although the years between the Tang and Song dynasties are not very far apart, the prices of antiques from the Tang and Song dynasties are much different. He was not so stupid to say it out loud. After the appraisal results came out, Kang Bohu took out a document for entrusting the auction. In order to be cautious, Cai Hongming asked Wana to invite a lawyer who often cooperates with their trading company to come over, so as to avoid traps in the document. You should know that, although you should not have the intention to harm others, you should also be on guard against others. After signing the document, Kang Bohu made a phone call, and a large number of security personnel quickly rushed over, and some auction house staff came with them to pack several items. The most troublesome one was the coral. If you accidentally broke a fork, the price would be reduced, and Cai Hongming would have to settle the bill with the auction house. After that, Kang Bohu enthusiastically invited Cai Hongming to dinner. Cai Hongming has never been interested in having dinner with strangers, so he declined. He came to Shanghai, mainly to deal with the auction of seals and other items. Now that he had finished, he did not stay any longer. He bought a plane ticket that day, and went to the northwest with Cao Yongxiang and her daughter. To be continued. Chapter 123. Mom said you are not a good child. After coming back exhausted, and standing at the door, Cai Hongming felt a sense of joy in his heart. No matter how a person is outside, home is always the warmest harbor. Just as he was about to go in, Cai Hongming saw Ye coming out. Seeing him, the little girl snorted, tilted her head, put her hands behind her back, ignored him, and walked out. Strange, what's wrong with this little girl today? Cai Hongming grabbed her pigtails, and pulled her back. Ye was very annoyed by his grabbing, and stretched out her claws to grab him fiercely, but he held her head with one hand, and couldn't grab her at all. When the little guy was tired, he asked, "What's wrong? You didn't even say hello to your uncle when you saw him. How rude." Humph. Ye crossed her hands, tilted her little face, and raised her chin and said, "Grandma said that you are a monkey. You run around all day and never come home. You are not a good child. She told me not to learn from you, and to be a good child at home." Cai Hongming was speechless. He was only away for a few days, but his mother used him as an example to educate her children. It was not that serious. But based on his understanding of this little guy, one sentence was obviously not enough for her to treat him like this. Sure enough, the little guy then said, "If you are not here, Fatty Sue won't give me lamb skewers to eat, and Sister Sangna won't give me any either. I won't be friends with you. It's just a matter of lamb skewers. Is it that serious?" Cai Hongming said quickly, "Go find Fatty Sue in the evening, and tell him that it was ordered by your uncle. I will give you a skewer of mutton every 2 days. But you can't eat it when you are sick, understand? I know, you are so nice. I will call you uncle in the future." Ye's face changed immediately, and she said happily, "This is also a guy who is a mother. If he has milk, he is not an uncle. If he doesn't have mutton skewers, his uncle is too cheap." He had nothing to say to this little guy, and wanted to go in, but she stopped him, and motioned him to put his ear over. I don't know what this little guy wants to do, so he put his ear over as she wanted. "Uncle, who is the little girl next to you? Are you big?" Cai Hongming rolled his eyes at her, but he still said, "This is Shanshan. You will live with us in the future. You are the elder sister, so you are not allowed to bully the younger sister. Ye will not bully people." Ye said sincerely, and those who don't know may believe it. Everyone in this neighborhood knows that she often brings a group of little guys to make trouble and bully other kids. The kindergarten teacher has visited her home several times. Every time, Gulixon blushed. The kindergarten teacher said, How can your daughter be so powerful? She has only been in kindergarten for a few days, but she has united a group of little rascals. She bullies people every day, and she bullies boys who are older than her. I don't know whether to say that girls nowadays are too tough or boys are too feminine. When she heard that it was a little sister, Ye invited her warmly. Shanshan, let's go play. When she first came here, everything was unfamiliar. Seeing her like this, Shanshan immediately hid in her mother's arms. Let them go play. It's okay here, Cai Hongming said to Cao Yongxiang. Since Ye was robbed last time, families with children in the shops on this street have each contributed some money to ask security guards to look after this street. The patrol team of the police station often comes here, so now this street can be said to be the safest place in the entire Gilang, and even petty thefts have been eradicated here. Seeing what Cai Hongming said, Cao Yongxiang let her daughter go play with Ye. My daughter has been with me since she was a child, and she really needs some friends. Otherwise she will become more and more withdrawn if she stays alone. This is not a good thing. Ye, play here, don't run away. Cai Hongming did not forget to remind her. I know, you are so nagging. Ye muttered, and ran away with Fanshan. This little brat. Cai Hongming laughed and scolded. He walked inside with Cao Yongxiang. There was not much business today. As soon as he entered the door, he saw his father making tea and watching TV by the coffee table. Dad, where is my mother? Cooking in the back. Dad, this is Sister Yun. She will work for us in the future. Cai Hongming introduced to Cao Yongxiang again. Sister Yun, this is my dad. Hello, uncle. Hello, hello. Sit down, don't stand. Cai Hongming and Cao Yongxiang had just sat down when they saw Ye running back excitedly with Fanshan. The two of them each held a small string of candied haws, and behind them was the fat boy who was a son of the owner of the grocery store next door, who always followed Ye. Ye, where did you get the candied haws? Cai Hongming asked when she saw the small candied haws in Ye and Shanshan's hands. I bought them. Ye licked the small candied haws greedily. Where did you get the money? Little fatties. When she took Shanshan out to play, she happened to see little fatty sneaking around with a coin to buy candied haws, so she confiscated his money. The store that sold candied haws over there had a kind of candied haws made from small oil gan, and a string only cost $1. Ye bought a string, and the owner had never seen Shanshan before, so he gave her a string for free. So each person got a string. After getting the candied haws, Ye ran back to show off. The fat boy ran after Ye because he had no money and no candied haws to eat. Seeing how he drooled as Ye and Shanshan licked the small candied haws, Cai Hongming was angry and amused, so he took out a 10 yuan note and asked him to buy 2 large strings of candied haws to eat. But before the little fat boy could take the money to warm it up, Ye cheated him out of it again, saying that she was helping him buy candied haws so that he wouldn't be cheated. When he came back, he only saw Ye holding a large string of candied haws in her left hand and eating a large string of candied haws in her right hand, while the little fat boy was licking the string of small candied haws that Ye had licked. He looked at Ye while licking, and his eyes, his resentful and aggrieved look, were really hilarious. Seeing the children eating the candied haws, Cai Shianfu said, speaking of which, the guy who sells candied haws is really skilled. When the shop first opened, there was not much business, so he went to buy some small oil fruits and made small strings of candied haws to give to the children. After the children became addicted to them, they naturally clamored for the adults to buy them, and his business flourished. Not only does he make candied haws, he can also blow sugar figures, and sometimes adults also like to eat them, so his business has always been good. Especially on Sundays and holidays, there are long queues in front of his shop. Cai Hongming nodded after listening. It seems that the man is indeed skilled in doing business. Maluan Feng heard her son's voice coming out from inside. When she saw him, she got angry for no reason. She walked over and grabbed his ear. You still remember to come back? You are so old, but once you go out, you are like a bird out of a cage, and you don't even want to come back. You don't even think about the pregnant wife at home. These days, I have to take care of this and go there, and I almost broke my legs. You are so happy outside all day. If I hadn't asked your aunt to come and help take care of Wana, I would be almost exhausted. Do you know? Do you know? I know. You have worked hard, really hard, too hard. I didn't expect that. My mother, who is in her 40s, is still so angry. Only my father's personality can stand it. Otherwise whoever marries will be unlucky. Cai Hongming was muttering in his heart without conscience, but he dared not say it. Seeing that his mother's grip was getting stronger and stronger, he begged for mercy. Mom, there are guests at home, and the children are here. Don't teach them bad things. Luan Feng was also angry. After hearing her son's words, she turned around and saw that there were really guests, so she quickly let go of her hand. Cai Hongming rubbed his ears and introduced her to her. Mom, this is Sister Yun. She will help in my shop in the future. Later, you can ask Han Sheng and others to help clean up a room upstairs for her and the children to live in. Sister Yun, you sit at home first or look around. I'll go see my wife and come back to take you and Shanshan out for a walk later. After saying that, he was afraid that his mother would scold him again, and he ran away without caring whether Cao Yongxiang agreed or not. Ye followed him when she saw it, and the little fat boy ran after her. This little bastard, he ran away after I said a few words to him. It's different when you're married. Your wife is always more important than me. Luan Feng looked at Cai Hongming's back in the distance, grumbling in dissatisfaction, turned around and saw Cao Yongxiang sitting there with her daughter in her arms, and said, Hongming is like this, careless and has no rules. I'm sorry to embarrass you. No, I should thank him. If it weren't for him, I don't know what I would do. Cao Yongxiang looked gloomy, talking about the various experiences when she met Cai Hongming. To be continued. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 124. A beautiful girl arrives. In the new house, Shiwana leaned against the black and white devils, lazily lying on a blanket full of the style of the western Xinjiang region, watching TV. After Cai Hongming left, she was too bored to stay at home alone, so she asked someone to send the black and white devils and the white yak Zua to accompany her. Poor black and white devils and Zua saw her leaving on the farm, thinking that they were out of the clutches of the devil and could spend time together. Who knew that it was not the case, so the two guys were very unhappy. The aunt who had just arrived next to her was knitting a sweater very quickly with 2 knitting needles. The speed was so fast that she knitted a sleeve in just a short while, and then knitted another one in a short while, just like a magic trick. Shiwana became interested and asked the aunt to let her try, but was rejected by the aunt. The aunt was very cautious, and usually did not allow Shiwana to take a knife to cook near the stove, let alone take scissors, needles and other things. The older generation was a bit superstitious and said that pregnant women could not take needles, scissors and the like. But it does make sense, because if you are pregnant, what if you accidentally use a needle or scissors and forget where to put them? If you prick your hand, it's okay, but what if you prick your stomach? It's chilling to think about it. Therefore, the things passed down by the old people always make sense. Maybe they are afraid that you won't listen, so they add some supernatural things to make you feel awe. But today, many people don't believe in ghosts and gods, so these things are classified as superstition. Cai Hongming hurried from home. As soon as he entered the door, he saw his wife lying in the hall, the black and white evil spirits with helpless faces, and the aunt knitting a sweater. Aunt. Cai Hongming greeted. This is the elder on his mother's side, and he hasn't seen her many times. The old lady also has children at home, and now she has a family and a career. She is a person who can't sit still, and she has been working as a nanny for a long time, and she is quite famous in the local area. Even if she wants to rest, she can't. The old lady also wants to make some money for her children and grandchildren, while she can still move, so she has been taking care of children outside, and rarely goes home once a year. Speaking of which, the old lady is a popular figure here. Anyone who wants to hire a nanny to help take care of the children and the wife will immediately think of her. I don't know how my mother invited her here. Hongming is back. Wana is about to give birth. You must not run around. I know, aunt. Then you guys chat. I'll go to the kitchen to see if the stew is ready. The aunt picked up the sweater and left. After she left, Cai Hongming lay down next to Shiwana, put his arms around her waist, and kissed her hard on the face. Running around outside, I thought I didn't miss home and my wife. But when I got home, I realized that the longing had been engraved in my heart and branded in my bones. Shiwana patted him with a look of joy and shyness. What are you doing? Aunt is at home. Didn't she go in? Cai Hongming said shamelessly, hugging her and wanting to kiss her again. Suddenly I felt that the atmosphere was a bit wrong. I turned around and saw Ye standing outside, staring at the two with her mouth wide open. The little fat boy who was eating the small gourd string had a piece of candied horse in his mouth fall to the ground at some point. Seeing the children coming, Shiwana quickly pushed Cai Hongming away. Yeah. Come over here to your aunt. Aunt, Ye is here to see the baby. Is the baby obedient today? Ye walked in obediently and asked curiously. But her eyes still glanced at their faces from time to time, as if there were flowers on their faces. Since Shiwana moved in, as long as they were not in kindergarten, she would almost always come over and would ask some strange questions that people didn't know how to answer. Be obedient, Shiwana said with a smile. Cai Hongming frowned when he saw the candied horse that Ye and the little fat boy were holding. There was a blanket on the ground, and if they were stuck with candied horse, they would not be able to wash them clean. So he took the candied horse from the two. He would give them back when he went back. He also asked them to wash their hands before letting them play inside. While talking to Ye, Shiwana lovingly touched her belly, wondering if her child would be like these two little guys when he grows up, curious about everything. Cai Hongming stayed with his wife, listening to them quietly. Everything seemed so comfortable. This is actually the life that many people yearn for. In the evening, Cai Hongming's mother Ma Luanfeng called him and asked him to take Wana and his aunt home for dinner. It was difficult to disobey his mother's order, so he had to agree. But after not seeing her for a few days, he found that his wife's belly was bigger, and even her body was a little fatter, and her face was rounder. Like a woman in the Tang dynasty, her whole body was full of grace and wealth. It was tender when pinched, soft when touched, and soft when needed. Shiwana thought that she would become less attractive if she was fat, but she didn't expect her husband to still like her so much, and she was secretly happy in her heart. But she was very annoyed that he touched her in broad daylight. How could he do this when his aunt was still at home? So she gave him a severe lesson and beat him up. Of course, for Cai Hongming, that soft fist was more like a massage. After dinner, Cai Hongming originally planned to take Cao Yongxiang and her daughter out for a walk, but the women kept talking, and seeing that his father had already slipped away, he also walked out. This saved him, a grown man, from not knowing what to do among a group of women. It had been a while since he had been to the barbecue restaurant, so Cai Hongming went there as soon as he went out. Although the store was newly built and sold other things, the tradition of barbecue remained unchanged. At night, the store set up the barbecue stall and placed tables and chairs on the roadside. People here like to eat barbecue outside, as it feels stuffy inside, which makes it cool and comfortable. If there were not so few people walking around this street at night, he would probably be blamed for doing this. Hey, brother Hong is here. Come on, have a drink. We haven't seen each other for a while. As soon as he arrived at the barbecue stall, the sharp-eyed Ziwi Feng saw him and yelled for him to drink with him. Now he is a boss, and the old ways of calling him Big Bird Brother and Bird Brother are almost extinct. People either call him by his name or Hong Brother, just like a country kid who is called by his nickname when he is young, and by his full name when he grows up. But he still likes people to call him Big Bird Brother, because this name makes him feel particularly accomplished. Drinking it every day doesn't make you tired, Cai Hongming said bluntly. Suddenly he saw Ruan Xiangsun, who was doing herbal medicine business with him, was also here, so he greeted him. Why are you here too? Isn't it the time to dig Sistinch now? He came here specially to see it, and planned to dig it himself. Didn't you go to dig it last time? Why don't you take him to dig it? The quality of Sistinch over there is better, Ziwi Feng said beside him. Cistanches cistanch desaticola, which can nourish the kidney, replenish essence and resist aging. Now the price in the market is rising steadily, which also drives some greedy people to dig it crazily, so that wild cistanch desaticola is becoming less and less. April every year is the peak of the growth of cistanch desaticola. The cistanch desaticola, that was originally buried underground, will emerge from the ground. This is also the peak of illegal digging. However, in terms of medicinal efficacy, cistanch desaticola should be dug in autumn and winter. Because at this time, cistanch desaticola will shrink in the soil, and the medicinal power is contained in the body for better effect. When the weather is warm, it will drill out of the ground, bloom, and bear fruit, and the medicinal power will be released, and the effect will not be so strong. But in winter, its nose in the ground is covered with snow. It is impossible to dig cistanch desaticola, so it can only be dug in autumn. The weather is not very cold at this time of year, and you can still see the Hylarxylinamodendron parasitic on cistanch desaticola. If you look for it a little, you can still find cistanch desaticola. No problem, I just have to go back in 2 days. You just pack up and follow me. Well, call me when the time comes. Okay. After chatting for a few words, and drinking a few glasses of wine, Cai Hongming continued to patrol the barbecue stall. Most of the people who come here to eat barbecue are regular customers, and they have been friends for several years or even more than 10 years. After not seeing each other for a long time, it is inevitable to greet each other warmly and have a drink. After a circle, he actually felt a little dizzy, and he didn't know how much wine he had drunk. He sat down next to Ziwi Feng again, and saw him approaching mysteriously and said, "Brother Hong, a beautiful girl came here recently, did you know? I'm not at home. How do I know? I heard that the girl is Xinjin Rao's friend. Her name is Kingayan. Wow, she looks so beautiful. Just looking at her makes people ecstatic. It is said that she went to your place to play a few days ago. How do you know? Your mother told me. You asked so clearly. Do you want to pick her up? I can't control such a beautiful girl. I'd better marry a girl from Giling. You are self-aware. P.S. The mother in the previous chapter should be grandmother. I made a mistake for a moment. Sorry. To be continued. Chapter 125. Consequences of a sudden inspiration. The air was fresh in the morning, and I had a good dream last night. Cai Hongming lay in bed, too lazy to get up, and even didn't want to open his eyes. He turned over, hugged his wife, and gently touched her silky and delicate skin with his hands, and slowly moved his mouth closer. Suddenly, he felt strange. Why is there hair on his wife's body? He opened his eyes and was startled. It was not his wife at all, but the broken dog Black and White Evil. Why are you here? Get down. Black and White Evil smacked his lips. It didn't want to come up. It just wanted to be with Zua and play kisses with Zua. So it jumped off the bed and left without looking back. Shiwana stood at the door and laughed. Cai Hongming didn't know that he was being teased. If she wasn't pregnant, he would definitely go over and spank her hard. The aunt heard Shiwana's laughter from below and laughed. She hadn't seen Shiwana laugh so happily in the few days she had been here. Today Shiwana had to go to the hospital for a checkup, and Cai Hongming had to accompany her. So after dinner, he diligently helped his wife to get in the car. After a while of busy work in the hospital, it was almost noon when they returned home. Come, drink some vegetable juice. Cai Hongming diligently poured a cup and handed it to Shiwana. Now his wife was drinking for 2 people, but he didn't dare to be careless at all. Wana saw his performance and felt happy. Women need men to love and care for them. Just like flowers, they need water and fertile soil. Women are the flowers, and men are naturally the water and fertile soil. If there is no man to water and fertilize, the woman's flower will wither. Shiwana went for the checkup with a big belly, and she was tired from tossing back and forth, so she rested at home in the afternoon. Cai Hongming went to the store. Last night, his father said that the plaster at home was almost used up, so he asked him to make some. This old man has a good seniority. Just a little talk, and his son will work hard. There was no other way. Since he was someone else's son, Cai Hongming spent the whole afternoon in the backyard making plasters. Xinjia from next door somehow knew that he was making plasters, so he came over and asked him to make some dragon bone healing ointment. He refused because it was dragon bones. It would be a waste to use a little bit and make some ointment. But in the end, he couldn't stand Xinje's torture and agreed to make some for him. Xinje also brought good news, saying that this dragon bone healing ointment can not only treat hemorrhoids, but also other large sores, and it can stop bleeding, remove dead tissue and regenerate flesh, making it sound like a panacea. Cai Hongming didn't believe it, of course. He just said that someone had tried it, and the effect was really good. Cai Hongming didn't care about the mess. Anyway, he only knew that the dragon bone healing ointment could cure hemorrhoids. He didn't know anything else. If something happened after using it, it would not be his business. He was still worried, and after making the plaster, he solemnly wrote on the plaster paper, mainly used for hemorrhoids. Otherwise, if something goes wrong, people will come to sue them, and they will not be able to explain themselves. After making the plaster for an afternoon, he felt uncomfortable all over, so he got up and exercised. Suddenly, he had a sudden thought. Why must the plaster be wrapped in paper? If it is made into patches, it can be pinched into balls and put in a glass bottle, which is convenient for storage. He felt that this method was feasible, so after the last batch of plasters was boiled and cooled, he began to experiment, pinching the plasters into balls according to the amount, and putting them into glass bottles one by one for storage. It looks pretty good. After doing everything and packing up his things, he went out. When he got to the front, he saw Shiwana slowly walking in from outside with the black and white demons. He hurried over to support her. Why don't you rest at home? Why did you come here? I want to go out for a walk. In fact, she missed Hongming. She didn't feel anything when he was not at home, but she would think of him when he was around. Then we'll walk home together later. Okay. Cai Hongming helped her sit down, wanting to wait for her to rest before going back together. The black and white devils lay beside her obediently. With the black and white devils around, Shiwana felt very safe. Hongming, where is the Warning Do exorcising ointment you made? Cai Xianfu was seeing a patient and found that the ointment was gone, so he called out. The ointment he had just made and was squeezed into a pill was the Warning Do exorcising ointment. Cai Hongming ran in and took it out for his father to use. Cai Xianfu was dumbfounded when he saw the ointment pill in the glass bottle. Why did it become a pill? It's easier to put it this way. How about it? Not bad. Cai Hongming said a little proudly. It's easier to put it, but how do I stick it? Just squeeze it flat. Cai Hongming took out a plaster pill from the glass bottle, squeezed it a little, and it became flat, just right to be placed on the plaster paper. Cai Xianfu took a look and also took a plaster pill and squeezed it. Just now, Hongming was so easy to pinch, but when he got it in his hands, he found that the plaster was as hard as a stone. No matter how hard he squeezed, he couldn't flatten it. In the end, he used all his strength, pinched his face and neck, but still couldn't flatten the plaster. He was angry and threw it back to Cai Hongming, roaring, "Take it and make it into a patch." It's not easy for Cai Hongming, as a son, to make Cai Xianfu, who has always been gentle, so angry. Seeing his father angry, he hurriedly took the glass bottle full of plaster pills and went to the back in shame. Shiwana was amused by his silly look. Children are bound to make mistakes. Don't be so angry. The old you who was treating the patient comforted Cai Xianfu. How could he know that Cai Xianfu was not angry at all, but embarrassed? His son could flatten the plaster with one hand, but he couldn't do it, no matter how hard he tried. People say a tiger father produces a dog son, and this is a dog father and a tiger son. To use a phrase in Minnan dialect, it is bad bamboo produces good bamboo shoots, which means that bad bamboo produces delicious bamboo shoots. How can he not feel ashamed? Cai Hongming came to the pharmacy at the back and put the glass bottle containing the plaster pills heavily on the table. It seems that this experiment failed. He forgot that his father's hand strength was not that strong. At this time, he remembered that other people's plaster pills were not made like this. Other people's pills are water pills, honey pills, water honey pills, paste pills, wax pills, etc. That is, they are glued with water, honey, or water and honey are mixed together, or glued with beeswax. However, his plaster pills are fried in oil and synthesized with yellow ochre. After cooling, they are as hard as stones. They can't be flattened with a light pinch like those water pills or honey pills. It seems that it is normal for him to be taught a lesson by his father. He was very frustrated that he failed in the first experiment, but it also helped him find a direction. In the future, he can try to make some water pills, honey pills, water honey pills, paste pills, wax pills and other pills. If he is familiar with it, he may be able to make the legendary elixir that emits light. Poor child, it seems that he has read too many novels. But the most important thing at the moment is to make the plaster pills into medicine patches, otherwise his father will scold him. So, he quickly flattened the plaster pills that he had pinched with great difficulty and then put them on plaster paper to bake, so that the plaster sticks tightly to the paper. To be continued. Chapter 126. Feeling bigger. The dark curtain fell, and a crescent moon was like a hook outside. In the room, Cai Hongming was lying on the bed with Shiwana in his arms, talking sweet words, making his wife giggle from time to time. "What do you think we should name our child in the future?" Shiwana asked gently, while lying in Cai Hongming's arms. "We don't know whether it will be a boy or a girl now, so let's name it after it is born. We can think of two, one boy and one girl. Even if it can't be used in this pregnancy, it can be used in the next pregnancy. Isn't your family a single child? My mother is a minority, and the policy there allows 3 children. Then we can think of a few more to keep as backup." Cai Hongming seemed to be thinking about something. "We don't have to think of a proper name first, we can give it a nickname first." Shiwana became more and more excited as she spoke, and turned over and continued, "I thought of one, called Dao Dao. What do you think? This name can be used for boys and girls. The name you mentioned reminds me of a joke." Cai Hongming glanced at her and said lightly, "What joke?" Shiwana asked curiously. "A reporter went to Antarctica to interview a group of penguins. He asked the first penguin, 'Excuse me, what are your hobbies?' The penguin said, 'Eating, sleeping, playing Dao Dao.' Then, he asked the second penguin, and the penguin still said, 'Eating, sleeping, playing Dao Dao.' The reporter asked other penguins with confusion, and the answers were all the same. He kept asking 99 penguins. When he walked to the 100th little penguin, the reporter walked over and asked, 'Excuse me, what are your hobbies?' The little penguin replied, 'Eating and sleeping.' The reporter was stunned and asked in surprise, 'Why don't you play Dao Dao?' The little penguin pouted, glared at the reporter and said, 'Because I'm Dao Dao. Ha ha ha.' Shiwana listened to Cai Hongming's story. She laughed magically, but suddenly remembered that she seemed to have seen this story before, but she just didn't notice that she gave it the same name. Feeling the contempt in Cai Hongming's words, she became unhappy. "You can then pick a name and see." Cai Hongming had already prepared. "What do you think of the name Shasha?" When Shiwana heard it, she felt it was not bad, but she didn't want to let him go so easily, and asked, "What about boys?" "It doesn't matter what the name is for boys. There's no need to be so particular. Do you know what people called me when I was a child?" Shiwana immediately became interested. "What?" "When I was a child, I walked with a little bow legs, so people gave me a nickname. It was called Kangnan Feet. Later, when I grew up and played crazy outside all day, my whole face was tanned like charcoal, so people called me Blackface. When I grew up and became taller, my classmates called me Bamboo Pole. Anyway, I don't have a good nickname." You have so many nicknames. But now that you walk normally and your face is not black anymore, you look a bit like a pretty boy." Shiwana touched Cai Hongming's face gently with her fingers. She said with a smile, "Yes, I just want to be a gigolo. Beautiful rich woman, do you want to seduce me? Go and earn money to support yourself. Who has the patience to support you?" Shiwana said proudly. "Did you have any nicknames when you were a child?" Shiwana thought for a while and shook her head. "No, my mother called me Wana when I was at home, and my grandpa called me Agili." Suddenly, she seemed to remember something, and showed off and boasted, "But when I was a child, the kids on my grandpa's side called me a little fairy." Cai Hongming didn't believe this at all. When he was in junior high school, he was as fat as a top. How could he be pretty when he was a child? Seeing that he didn't believe it, Shiwana snorted and said, I was very pretty when I was a child, but I was a little greedy when I was in school, so I became so fat. To grow into that shape, it's probably not just a matter of ordinary gluttony. Cai Hongming muttered in his heart. Shiwana felt a complete disbelief in his eyes and said angrily, it's because of you. You always bullied me in school and gave me messy nicknames. I eat when I'm angry and I get fat when I eat, so I become like that. God swears, can such a thing involve me? It's my greed, okay. But his wife is the most important. He didn't dare to refute and hurriedly hugged her to comfort her. Yes, it's all my fault, okay? It's all your fault. Shiwana said unreasonably. I know. A faint fragrance wafted into his nose, and Cai Hongming's heart moved slightly. His hands began to wander around his wife's body in an unruly manner, sliding over her slender calves, to her soft waist, and then going up, to grab the pair of tall snow-capped peaks. Pinch the soft ones, touch the tender ones, and smell the fragrant ones. He couldn't help but lower his head and kiss them, and suck them. Pregnant women have strong desires, and being aroused by his actions, Shiwana's eyes suddenly became misty, and she gasped for breath. After playing with the snow-capped peaks for a while, Cai Hongming kneaded them and said, I feel like yours seems to have grown bigger. Well, Shiwana rubbed the other snow-capped peak in distress and gestured, it's so big that it's not convenient to run. Her action seemed both intentional and unintentional, which made Cai Hongming's mouth dry and his lower body erect, as hard as steel. Why, you want to? Shiwana said with a seductive look. Cai Hongming did want to, but it was not appropriate to do this when he was pregnant. If he accidentally disturbed the fetus, it would be over. Shiwana saw the hesitation in his eyes, bit her lip and said, anyway, there are still a few months. We just need to be careful. Cai Hongming's heart was moved. Knock knock knock. At this time, there was a knock on the door outside, and then the aunt was heard outside saying, Hongming, go to bed early. Wana must stay alert, and can't go to bed too late. The aunt must have been lying in ambush at the door, just waiting for the sound inside to remind her. Thinking of this, Shiwana blushed with shame. The words just now must have been heard by the aunt. She was so embarrassed that she pulled up the quilt and buried her head in the quilt, not daring to show it again. I know, aunt. Cai Hongming replied. He also breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, his aunt reminded him in time, otherwise he almost couldn't control himself. Since Shiwana became pregnant, he has not had sex with her again, for fear that the fetus would be disturbed and something might happen. In the past few months, he happened to be refining the alchemy formula in the Jade Purity Golden Box King Hua secret text Golden Treasure. His body and mind were in a state of tranquility and inaction, and he barely suppressed the desire in his human nature. But recently, he went in and out of the turbid city and didn't practice again. When he came back and was teased by his wife like this, he almost got into trouble. Now thinking about it, I can't stop sweating. It seems that I really can't be too intimate with my wife, but there are still a few months to go, which is really life-threatening. To be continued. Chapter 127 Yellow Sheep. Because Xinjin Rao and King Gan had been waiting for him to return to the farm, after 2 days of being bored with Shiwana, Cai Hongming decided to go back to Zhou with Ruan Xiangsuan and Cao Yongxiang and her daughter. Ruan Xiangsuan was naturally going to dig Sistanch Deserticola, and Cao Yongxiang had already decided to work in a barbecue restaurant. This time he took them there purely for fun. So the next morning, after finishing breakfast, Cai Hongming took his wife to a place where his aunt couldn't see him and gave her a wet kiss that almost made people breathless. Shiwana didn't stick to him, nor did she have the legendary reluctance to leave. She just wanted to know that he was here, because this made her feel particularly at ease. The car left the county town, and a vast desert was on the horizon. After the autumn, the grass and trees in the northwest change every day, and now they have basically changed color, a new yellow. Shanshan had never seen such a scene before. There were yellow things everywhere, yellow trees, yellow sand, yellow mountains, and yellow roads. It seemed that in the blink of an eye, the world had changed color. Cao Yongxiang had never thought that in addition to the vibrant Jiangnan water town, there was such a vast desert. The rolling hills were all made of yellow sand. The endless yellow sand spread across the land. There was no trace of green, no gurgling water, no towering mountains. Yes, it was just dead loneliness. The car drove for a while, and Shanshan, who had been staring at the outside, suddenly shouted, "Mom, look, there are sheep there." Cai Hongming turned his head and saw a group of yellow sheep foraging among the newly yellow weeds and bushes in the distance. There are two kinds of sheep commonly known as yellow sheep. One is Przewalski's gazelle and the other is Mongolian gazelle. Przewalski's gazelle was once widely distributed in Inner Mongolia, Ningxia, Gansu and Qinghai. However, due to the impact of human activities and the deterioration of habitats, the number of this species has declined, and the distribution area has shrunk sharply. Now it is only distributed in Qinghai province, including the area around Qinghai Lake, as well as Xianjin County and Gan County. It is a national first-class protected animal. The Mongolian gazelle is widely distributed in China, Mongolia, and Russia. They migrate in large numbers to places with abundant food every spring and autumn. These things have outstanding running skills and sensitive senses. Once they find the enemy, they will run away in an instant. As a result, Cai Hongming has been going back and forth in this place for more than 10 years, and the number of times he has seen yellow sheep is very rare. As soon as the group of yellow sheep foraging found the situation, they immediately looked up and stared at them. If there was any movement, they would run away. Cai Hongming quickly stopped the car and even turned off the engine. In an instant, the world was silent. This is a semi-desert area, on the edge of the Kilian Mountains, and beyond it is Mongolia. So this group of gazelles should be Mongolian gazelles, and the population is quite large. Because of their delicious meat, some people have started to raise them, and they are low-risk animals. Since we met, it means we are destined to meet. With a thought in his mind, Cai Hongming asked Ruan Xiangsuan and the others to stay in the car and not come out. He opened the car door quietly and walked out. "Mom, what is Uncle going to do?" Shanshan saw his movements and asked curiously. "Uncle is going to catch the sheep." "Oh." Shanshan looked outside quickly after hearing this, with a nervous expression, as if she was going to catch the sheep. Cai Hongming bent down and quickly ran to the edge of a nearby bush. Then he quickly approached the group of gazelles. The gazelles seemed to have noticed something, raised their heads, and found that there was no movement from the car, and there seemed to be nothing around, so they stared for a long time. Then they buried their heads, and ate grass peacefully. The grass was newly yellow, and there was still green and moisture in its bones. This was a good food, to replenish the energy of the gazelles. As soon as there is food, the gazelles will nibble on it, because they have to go far away, and have to conserve their energy, to face the dangers along the way. After a while, seeing that the gazelles were not moving, Cai Hongming continued to quietly walk towards a fat gazelle he had set his sights on. He stepped very lightly, for fear of disturbing the gazelle's grazing. But even if he stepped lightly, his feet still made a sound on the semi-desert sand. A gazelle suddenly raised its head, and the gazelles next to it also quickly looked up. Cai Hongming quickly hid in the grass next to him. He thought he was hiding well, but the wind brought a different smell, and revealed his whereabouts. In an instant, the herd of gazelles scattered. Cai Hongming had already set his sights on a big gazelle near him, so how could he let it get away so easily? He hurriedly ran forward, watching the gazelle speed up, and run faster and faster. He could no longer care, and stomped his feet hard on the ground, and quickly rushed towards the gazelle. In midair, he displayed his crane skills, and pounced on the gazelle like a flying crane. No matter how fast the gazelle was, it was not as fast as Cai Hongming, who was crazy about eating the gazelle, and was thrown to the ground. After catching the gazelle, Cai Hongming turned around to catch another one, but found that the other gazelles had already run away, leaving only some wind sounds, and there was no trace of them. Ruan Xiangsuan and Cao Yongxiang in the car saw him catch the gazelle and got out of the car. "Hongming, you are quite skilled," Ruan Xiangsuan praised. No. Cai Hongming was modest, and then said, "There are ropes behind my car, you can help me get some." Ruan Xiangsuan turned around to get the ropes. When Shanshan saw the big yellow sheep that Cai Hongming caught, her eyes were full of admiration. "Uncle, you are awesome." Cai Hongming proudly held up the fat yellow sheep and said, "Uncle will roast a big lamb leg for you when we go back." Yes, Shanshan nodded heavily and said, Mom wants to eat it, too. Everyone. After Ruan Xiangsuan brought a rope to tie up the yellow sheep, they continued on their way. Cai Hongming even drove around the area. He wanted to catch another one, but he didn't know where the yellow sheep had gone. There was not even a shadow. He was too lazy to continue looking, so he drove straight to Zidushengjing. The car drove for an unknown period of time. Shanshan only knew that she fell asleep while looking at it. When she woke up again, there was a green tree in front of her, and there was a tall iron pillar in the middle of the green trees. It was Zidushengjing Farm. The iron pillar, she thought, was actually a lighthouse, which also had the functions of a monitoring and signal tower. The farm is surrounded by a field of poplar trees, which are full of vitality, and are known as living for 1,000 years without dying, dying for 1,000 years without falling, and falling for 1,000 years without decay. In addition, when Cai Hongming first planted them, he was worried that they would not survive, so he watered them with water, mixed with jade toad liquid. Therefore, even though the poplar trees in other places have turned yellow, this place is still green. In order to prevent outsiders from entering his farm, Cai Hongming had people build a fence around the poplar trees and plant a layer of camel thorn and sea buckthorn. When he arrived at the place, he got out of the car and opened the fence. When he drove in, he saw a group of people driving machines to harvest corn and sweet potatoes in the distance. When Fanfan came in, he saw a large cornfield and was very surprised, especially the herds of cattle and sheep on the side. Those cattle were covered with hair, just like Zua in Aunt Juana's house, but not as beautiful as Zua. There was also a large group of big birds. She had seen those big birds on TV. They seemed to be called ostriches. You can tell by the hunched backs. Hey. She saw someone sitting on a long-haired cow, and someone else sitting on an ostrich. She couldn't sit still anymore, twisting her butt to look outside, not at all at ease. Hongming is back. Jidang, who was standing on the rest building in the distance, said when he saw the car coming in, it's time for him to come back. If he doesn't come back, the guys on the farm will probably be kidnapped by King Guyan. Zia Hao Kung Gang joked. Ha ha ha. Jidang laughed inexplicably, not knowing what he was thinking of. Zia Hao Kung Gang's body had completely recovered, so Cai Hongming asked him to stay on the farm to help and let him manage the farm with Jidang. He agreed. First, to repay his gratitude, and second, it was more comfortable here. He didn't want his wife and daughter to worry about him every day after he went out. If anything happened to him again, I would really be sorry for this family. To be continued. Chapter 128 Listening in reverse. Perhaps she was tired of staying in the palm-sized places in Beijing with bad air, surging crowds, and so on. After King Guyan came to Zidushengjing, she had a lot of fun. She was pretty, and with light makeup, she immediately fascinated the group of young men on the farm. Today, the farm was harvesting corn. She had never seen such a scene before, so she rode an ostrich to watch the fun. Liu Zhang was originally riding his super large yak, following him to show his courtesy, but when he saw Cai Hongming's car coming, he immediately rode his yak to greet him. Brother Zhang, are you trying to pick up girls? Cai Hongming opened the car window and teased. How can I do that? With our current situation, even if someone is willing, we dare not take them. We can't afford to support them. Liu Zhang whispered. When Shanshan saw the approaching yak, her eyes suddenly widened, and she boldly reached out to touch the yak, but was pulled back by her mother Cao Yongxiang. For this, the little guy pouted his lips, which were almost big enough to hold a small basket. But after a moment, she recovered and pulled Cai Hongming's clothes and said, Uncle, I want to ride a yak. Fanshan, be obedient. Cao Yongxiang scolded. It's okay. Everyone is tired from riding in the car all the way. Let's go ride a yak. Cai Hongming waved his hand to indicate that it was okay, and said to Ruan Xiangsuan, do you want to go and have fun too? Ruan Xiangsuan nodded. Okay, my butt is almost numb from riding in the car all the way. It's a good time to relax. So Cai Hongming asked Liu Zhang to bring a few yaks with saddles. Ruan Xiangsuan had ridden a yak before, so he rode away by himself, but Cao Yongxiang had never ridden one before, so Cai Hongming taught her. These yaks are docile and easy to ride. After a while, she learned it. Liu Zong was going to take Fanshan with him, but was stopped by Cai Hongming. Do you have anything else to do? Nothing. What? I caught a yellow sheep behind the car. You drive it back and let Uncle Fu cook it. We can all enjoy it at noon. When Liu Zong heard that he caught a yellow sheep, he immediately ran to the back of the car. As soon as he opened the trunk, he saw a fat yellow sheep lying inside. It's so big. Brother Hong, how did you catch it? These things run like rockets. They disappear in a flash and can't be caught at all. You are really amazing. Liu Zong admired from the heart. Uncle flew over like a little bird and caught the sheep. Shanshan said proudly beside him, as if she had caught the yellow sheep. Liu Zong raised his eyebrows. It looks like a little bird, and I'm a dinosaur? It's just that there are too few. There are so many people on our farm, and each person can't get a few pieces. It's good to have something to eat. Do you think it's easy to catch? That's right. After taking a look, Liu Zong drove back. Cai Hongming rode on the back of the big yak Benben with Shanshan in his arms, swaying as he walked back. Cao Yangxiang had just learned how to ride a yak, so she didn't dare to go too fast, and walked slowly beside him. Shanshan was so excited sitting on the yak's back, chattering and pointing, and Cai Hongming didn't know what she was saying. But he knew the main idea she wanted to express, which was that she was very happy, very happy, very happy, very happy. King Guyan rode an ostrich back and forth in the place where corn and sweet potatoes were harvested. Those who didn't know would think she was helping, but in fact she was playing. She was riding the king ostrich, which was the smartest ostrich on the farm, and knew how to listen to people. The others were all stupid birds, running stupidly when they were ridden, and stopping when they covered their eyes. There was no way to communicate at all. The king ostrich always only let Cai Hongming and Shiwana ride it, and Shiwana was sometimes not very useful, and she didn't know how she managed to make the king ostrich let her ride it obediently. They played for a while. King Guyan just rode on the ostrich and ran towards Cai Hongming. After a while of running, beads of sweat appeared on her face, but it did not damage her appearance, and her beauty was even more beautiful, like a lotus flower emerging from the water. You are back. Do you know how bored Jinrao and I are staying here? If you don't come back, we will leave. As soon as she came, King Guyan complained to him. I don't see why you are bored. Aren't you having fun? Cai Hongming laughed. Just trying to have fun in misery. Do you think I'm having fun? King Guyan looked around, put her head close to him and whispered, you don't know that these guys on your farm, when they see us two beautiful girls, their eyes turn green and bright. At night, Jinrao and I dare not stay in the room alone, for fear of any accidents. Hearing her exaggerated description, Cai Hongming didn't know what to say. After a long time, he asked, are you saying that you are beautiful? Of course, there is no need to ask. King Guyan said, puffing out her pigeon-like chest. When Cai Hongming saw her in the capital, she was wearing a Taoist robe, like a fairy from the mortal world. At that time, he thought that she was calm and peaceful, and should not be a person of the mortal world. Now he realized that he was wrong. This woman's personality seems to be a bit hot. Also, if someone who grew up in a big city like the capital said that her personality was as simple and lovely as a country girl, it would be hard to believe, even if he was beaten to death. Have you seen my wife Wana? Cai Hongming asked. Yes, what's the matter? To be honest, are you prettier than her? King Guyan immediately straightened her chest and wanted to say of course when she heard it, but she felt a little guilty when she thought about it. To be honest, Shiwana is indeed very beautiful. Her beauty carries a kind of foreign blood, which is incomparable to the Han people, especially her breasts. It's discouraging to think about it. How can they be so big? Even if she drank papaya milk, since she was a child, it would be impossible for her to grow that big. Exclamation mark. Okay, I admit that she is indeed more beautiful, but it's just a little bit. King Guyan pointed with her little finger. Look, she's so pretty, but no one in the farm looks at her much. Why is it like this when you're on the farm? So the problem isn't with them, but with you. I think it's better to hear what you said the other way around. After saying that, Cai Hongming rode the yak forward with a fan in his arms. What do you mean by that? Suddenly, she realized that if you hear it the other way around, it means that they're not pretty. Then those people are just looking at monsters and seeing something strange. This guy actually dared to say that to her and immediately rode an ostrich to chase after her, wanting to settle the score with Cai Hongming. Cao Yongxiang, who was left behind, laughed. Cai Hongming came to the cornfield and everyone greeted him. He looked around and found that this year's corn harvest was good. Last year, the silage made from maize and corn stalks was eaten until summer. This year, they planted more corn, which should last for a long time, plus the sweet potatoes. The corn they planted this year should not be used up, and they can just be made into vermicelli to sell. After the jade tripod was broken, it could not absorb the essence of the bright moon, and there was no jade liquid to irrigate the crops. He originally thought that the harvest would be less this year, but he didn't expect that not only was there no less, but the taste was almost the same as last year. It seems that the sandworm fesses are quite effective in fertilizing the land. Now the farm does not use other fertilizers to fertilize the land, but uses sandworm fesses, which is not only natural, but also very nutritious. The things grown are very big and sweet, almost comparable to the things he grew with yuchan liquid mixed with water. The sweet potato field can be said to be the second crop this year. Although it was heavily fertilized last year, it was still a virgin land. This year, the land is ripe, and a large amount of sandworm fesses was applied during the growth period, so the sweet potatoes have grown very big. Although they cannot be compared with his super large sweet potato that won the Guinness World Record, the largest one is as big as a pumpkin, which is amazing. Standing on the edge of the sweet potato and cornfields, Cai Hongming looked at the busy machines and people coming and going, and felt very satisfied. This is the farm he built, and this is the life he wants. Stop right there, kid. Explain to me what you meant by what you said just now. Before Cai Hongming could have a good time to express his feelings and look forward to his future life, King Guyan caught up with him and started to pester him about what he had just said. Finally, Cai Hongming had to say that he would personally cook for her a big meal she had never eaten before, and she gave up. After a look, Cai Hongming held the fan and walked inside with Cao Yongxiang. From a distance, he saw some flying birds circling over Zadushengjing. These birds flew up and down, in and out, as if they regarded his farm as their home. Not feeling strange, he asked King Guyan, who had stayed here for a while, "What's the matter with this bird?" Unexpectedly, she threw a sentence, "You'll know when you go in and take a look yourself." Then she rode away on the ostrich. This woman. Cai Hongming shook his head, not knowing what to say. To be continued. Chapter 129 Remuneration. Shanshan had never been to the desert, nor had she seen yaks, ostriches, and the like, so she felt everything was new to her. Therefore, in addition to sitting on the yak and looking at it curiously, she couldn't help but reach out to touch it. When the yak walked into the forest lined with giant cacti, she saw the big and tall cactus and couldn't help but reach out to touch it. Cai Hongming took a look and quickly pulled her back. This little guy, what's so good about touching the thorns? But she didn't think so. When she saw that she couldn't touch the long thorns, her mood suddenly became bad. The yak walked into the city gate tunnel, and suddenly, a light flashed, and the figure of a young girl appeared in the passage. This is a virtual person designed by Shao, used to manage the farm's electronic equipment. "Hi, Xiaolinger," Cai Hongming greeted. "The master is back. Xiaolinger is so happy," the girl said excitedly. Cai Hongming didn't know if Shao had any quirks or plots to design such a girl. Her speech and actions were so similar to the characters in the Japanese comics that people couldn't help but want to complain. But the guys on the farm seemed to like her very much. Some of them even stood by the doorway to see her. It was a pity that Xiaolinger was introverted, or it was originally designed like this. She rarely paid attention to people except Cai Hongming. After all, the little guy managed all the electronic equipment on the farm. If she had a crush on other people and was used by someone with ulterior motives, it would be a loss for the farm. Therefore, after Xiaolinger was designed, her first instruction was to be loyal to Cai Hongming. Even the designer Shao was just an assistant to assist the management. "Xiaolinger, this is Shanshan and Cao Yongxiang." They will be our company's people from now on. Got it, master. Xiaolinger drove a beam of light to scan the images of Shan Shan and Cao Yongxiang, so that they would not need to verify when entering and leaving in the future. If a stranger who had not verified wanted to force his way in, she would close the door, sound the alarm, then spray pepper spray, choking smoke, etc. It must be said that the virtual person designed by Kidaoji Shao is really good. Everyone treats her as a real person, not an electronic program. Okay, let's go. After she finished scanning, Cai Hongming held the fan and took Cao Yongxiang to continue walking forward. At the end, he praised Xiaolinger. Xiaolinger, I haven't seen you for a few days. You seem to have become more beautiful. Ah. Xiaolinger blushed and disappeared in an instant. Cai Hongming laughed. This little guy is still so shy. Crackle. In the office, bursts of harsh sounds came from the virtual host. Kidaoji Shao, who was sitting on the chair, frowned. This cheap thing is not good. It seems that Cai Hongming has to buy a good one. Otherwise, this machine will have problems sooner or later. After a while, the harsh sound disappeared, and the virtual host returned to normal. The lights on it flickered, like the mood of a girl. As soon as he passed the city gate, Cai Hongming was stunned by everything in front of him. There are birds everywhere in the scenic spot, flying, walking, jumping, on the lake, on the road, and on the trees. There are red beaks, green claws, slanted eyes, flat heads, and everything else. Where do these birds come from? With such questions, Cai Hongming continued to walk inside. Shanshan was happy to see the birds, and shouted that she wanted to catch the birds. Cai Hongming scared her that the birds would bite people, and she calmed down again. Originally, after entering the scenic spot, you can see a large rice field, but the rice was planted early this year. It has been harvested, and another season of cold-resistant wheat was planted. The wheat is green, and has already sprouted, but it is obviously not edible yet. But the birds don't think so, and they all want to fly into the rice fields to eat the wheat. There is no way. Xia Haokunggang and others had to let people guard there. Originally, they made a few scarecrows in the field, but the birds were not afraid at all, so they had to use firecrackers. As soon as they saw the birds coming, they set off firecrackers, or honked the horn. Fortunately, these birds sleep at night, otherwise they would be exhausted if they work day and night. Cai Hongming walked to the edge of the wheat field and asked Chenji, who was nervously staring at the birds in the sky, "Ag, where did these birds come from?" "I don't know," Chenji said. "These birds came a few days after you left, and they stayed and didn't leave." Beigong said that these are migratory birds, and they don't stay for long. "Nonsense, how come I have never seen them?" Beigong said that in the past, there were birds passing by here when it was getting cold, but there were fewer birds after it became a desert. He said it was all sand, and the birds were not stupid, so how could they come here? Now that the environment here is good, they will come here to rest, find some food, fill their stomachs, and continue on their way. Beigong said, "Don't look at these birds eating and drinking here, they are paid." "Oh, what reward?" Chenji looked around and said, "Wait a minute." Then, he ran to the Shengui Lake quietly. Seeing his sneaky look, Cai Hongming felt that it was a pity for him not to become a thief. Cai Hongming sat on it and looked over. He found that, after he arrived at the lake, he crawled on the ground. After reaching the shore of Shengui Lake, he reached his hand into a clump of grass. After a while, he seemed to touch something and quickly retreated. "Brother Hong, look." Chenji reached out and took out 2 bird eggs the size of eggs that he had found. Cai Hongming took a look. "Aren't they just eggs? What's so special about them?" Looking at his eyes, it was clear that he didn't understand. Chenji said, "Brother Hong, this is the reward for those birds. Hachiko said that these birds will fly away after they are full, but these eggs will stay. Not only eggs, but also baby birds that are born will stay. This is a harvest." Cai Hongming nodded and felt good. If this is the case, he can waste some food to feed these things. After all, they are awarded, so he can't be too stingy. Seeing that Shanshan seemed to like the bird eggs, Cai Hongming asked for the eggs from Chenji and continued to walk forward. The little guy looked at the bird eggs with curiosity and put his nose close to smell them. Cai Hongming found it funny. What was so good about them? Wasn't it just like bird shit that came out of one butt? Then, he saw the little guy was very interested and wanted to lick the bird eggs with his tongue. Damn it, Cai Hongming quickly stopped him. This really disgusted him. The little guy didn't know how to be kind and looked unhappy. The wheat field was very large, so it was not just Chenji who was watching. There was a person at every distance to prevent the bird from flying to the other side after leaving. Seeing him come back, everyone greeted him enthusiastically, and Cai Hongming nodded in response. Along the way, he saw that the koala pears planted on both sides of the road had been picked. It seemed that the farm was really damaged by these birds this time, otherwise he would have left these pears on the trees and waited for the weather to get cold before picking them. To be continued, chapter 130. Which kind of mutton is delicious? When Cai Hongming came to the front of the house, he saw Zhao Haokungang's daughter Jingjing wearing a small camouflage uniform and holding a small water gun. She stood heroically by the vegetable field, staring closely at the birds in the sky that wanted to run into the vegetable field from time to time. When she saw the birds coming, she shot them with the water gun to scare them away. She was not playing, but protecting the fruits she liked to eat. When she came to the vegetable field 2 days ago, she found that her favorite red tomatoes were pecked with many small holes by birds. She was very angry and the consequences were serious, so this happened. Cai Hongming jumped off the yak, picked up Shanshan, and brought her to Jingjing, saying, "Shanshan, this is Jingjing, you should call her sister. Jingjing, this is Shanshan, you should call her sister. Sisters should love sisters, do you know?" "Yes." Jingjing nodded. After introducing the two little things, he let the two children play by themselves. Shanshan looked at Jingjing in camouflage and felt cool, so she extended her hand to grab the bird egg in a friendly way. "Sister, here you go." Jingjing took a look and said, "These bird eggs are not delicious. Only the phoenix eggs made by uncle are delicious." Shanshan turned around and stuffed the bird egg back into Cai Hongming's hand, then ran back to her and asked, "Sister, what are you doing?" "Shooting birds. Those birds are so bad. They always come to steal food." Jingjing's face was full of anger. "Can you shoot them?" Shanshan asked curiously. "No, but you can scare them away." Jingjing proudly raised her favorite small water gun. "This gun is really good, sister. Can I see it?" After saying a lot of words, Shanshan stated her ultimate goal. Seeing that the two of them were having a good time, Cai Hongming first took Cao Yongxiang to see her in Shanshan's room, and then came back to take Shanshan, who was already a little obsessed with playing with the water gun, to eat together. She was still unwilling. It was probably because she was afraid that after leaving, the water gun would be taken back by Jingjing, and she would never see it again. Cai Hongming said that he would give her a handful after eating, and the little girl was willing to eat. The food was good, because they added yellow sheep to the dishes at noon. But King Gan was not very satisfied and said angrily, "Didn't you say that you would make us a big meal that we have never eaten before? How come it's gone?" Cai Hongming just remembered that it seemed to be true, but he was already eating. It was too late to make it again, so he hurriedly said, "Sorry, I forgot about it when I was busy. Tonight, I will definitely give you an unforgettable night." King Gan puffed her lips and was about to speak, but was stopped by Xinjin Rao next to her. Although she didn't go out in the morning, she knew how her sister's temper was, so she stopped quickly to prevent her from saying angry words. King Gan glared at her dissatisfiedly. Then he said to her, "Then you must remember, I won't agree if you don't satisfy me. I will definitely satisfy you." Cai Hongming smiled and responded, and buried his head in eating. Uncle Fu put a lot of effort in the afternoon. He made several dishes out of a yellow sheep. One is lamb bone stewed with radish, one is lamb offal blanched with potatoes, and one is braised lamb. The braised lamb is the best, with chestnuts added to it. The cooked chestnuts are loose and soft, and the lamb is infused with the flavor of chestnuts. It tastes fragrant and delicious with a hint of sweetness. It is highly praised. With so many delicious foods, everyone's appetite is naturally opened, and they eat a few more bowls of rice. After eating, everyone sat together and chatted. Some guys sighed while picking their teeth. "This yellow sheep is delicious, but there are too few of them." "That's right. It's a pity that we can't find it." Otherwise, we could catch a few to satisfy our hunger. How can it be so easy to catch one? Didn't you see that Brother Hong is so powerful, but he only caught one? Ki Dioji Shao listened to their chattering and said unhappily, if you want to eat, go catch it yourself. A group of them came behind us recently. You can eat as much as you want. A group of young men with excess energy who had already been tempted by yellow sheep meat heard what he said and immediately surrounded him and asked, Brother Dio, are you serious? Where are the yellow sheep? Those who know Ki Dioji Shao call him Leo Dio, Aji or his name, but newcomers dare not call him that, not to mention that he is a technician on the farm, an old NIUB, so everyone respectfully calls him Brother Dio. There is a grassland in the valley behind our mountain. The sheep are eating grass there, but they have been eating for 2 days. We need to catch them quickly, otherwise they will run away. The young men's eyes sparkled when they heard this. They were all eager to try and discuss how to catch them. Cai Hongming couldn't stand it anymore and said, I said, are you so greedy? If you want to eat mutton, just go to the sheepfold and catch a few and kill them. Why do you need to go to such great lengths? Brother Hong, you don't understand. Mutton is different. The young men said in unison. What's the difference? It's all mutton. Cai Hongming didn't believe it. Seeing that he didn't believe it, someone said, of course it's different. If you don't believe me, ask Sanyi. Sanyi is an expert in this field and he must know. Sanyi ignored them and said, I don't understand. You should ask Beigong. He has traveled the world with his feet and eaten all kinds of food with his mouth. He has eaten everything from all over the world. It's best to ask him. Everyone immediately turned their eyes to Beigong. Beigong is a veteran. He can handle such a scene. He took a sip of tea brought by Afu, cleared his throat, and then said slowly, as for the sheep, if you say there is a difference, of course there is a difference, but if you say there is no difference, it is also correct. Hearing him say that, everyone felt sick. What is the difference? It's just asking if there is a difference in the taste of mutton. Is it necessary to go around in such a big circle? Cai Hongming laughed when he heard it on the side. Who is Bagan? He is a Feng Shui reader. If he can't talk well, how can people admit it? Bagan paused and said, to say there is a difference is because there are many kinds of sheep, including sheep, goats, yellow sheep, antelopes, blue sheep, argali, blue sheep, etc. To say there is no differences because they are all sheep. Hearing his words, everyone wanted to bang their heads against the wall. Who doesn't know that sheep are sheep? Beigong went on to say, as for the sheep, they taste good or bad. Some are smelly, some are not. Some are meaty, and some are fat. Goat meat is meaty, and sheep meat is fat. Sheep is better for barbecuing, because it has fat, and smells oily, and fragrant when roasted. Goats are meatier, so they are more suitable for stir frying, braising, and boiling, but not for barbecuing. The yellow sheep we are eating today is also meaty and suitable for roasting, braising, stewing, and ironing the plate. So which one tastes better, the goats we raise, or the yellow sheep? The young men asked expectantly. Of course it's the yellow sheep. We only raise ordinary goats. The meat can't compare with the yellow sheep that was born and raised by nature. The young men were happy to hear this, and they all said to Cai Hongming, Brother Hong, look, Beigong also said that the yellow sheep is better. If you want to eat, just catch it. Do you need to find these excuses? When the guys heard his permission, they jumped for joy and walked out in a hurry to discuss how to catch the sheep. Cai Hongming shook his head. What's so happy about catching sheep? It's so silly and cute. Suddenly, he saw King Guyan next to him also eager to try, so he asked, do you want to go too? It feels quite fun. Let's go and take a look. King Guyan pretended to be indifferent. Then you have to find someone to protect you, so as not to be kicked by the yellow sheep. Cai Hongming teased. I'm not afraid. King Guyan said, and pulled Zinjinrao next to her, wanting her to go with her, so that she would have a companion. Who knew that Zinjinrao didn't move at all? Seeing that she didn't want to go, King Guyan had to go alone. Why don't you go play? Cai Hongming asked Zinjinrao. I don't want to move, Zinjinrao said lazily, and then she saw Shanshan looking at them curiously with her big eyes, so she asked, whose child is this little girl? She's so cute. This is Shanshan, Xiang's daughter, Cai Hongming introduced. Xinjin Rao nodded and greeted Cao Yongxiang, then touched Shanshan's little head, feeling that the little guy was so cute. Unexpectedly, the little guy asked at this time, "Uncle, when will you give me the water gun?" Xinjin Rao's movements paused slightly. It seemed that she had expressed the wrong feelings. The little guy was not looking at her and Cai Hongming, but was clearly looking for an opportunity to ask Cai Hongming for something. "Give it to you right away," Cai Hongming said helplessly, and then took her to get the water gun. The small water guns on the farm were originally intended for children who came here to play, but the guests did not come, so the two little guys opened them first. The two kids spent the whole afternoon shooting birds with water guns. They didn't catch many birds, but they destroyed the vegetables in the garden. To be continued. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 131 Wild Geese. Cai Hongming had nothing to do in the afternoon, so he wandered around, while Cao Yongxiang watched his daughter and them hunting birds. Xinjin Rao thought it was fun, so she also took a chair and sat next to them to watch. The big rooster Huahua was patrolling his territory majestically and imposingly. When he saw Cai Hongming, he immediately flapped his wings and ran over. A moment later, the big male deer also came over, followed by their whole family. These guys, they run around everywhere, after eating all day. Once they ran into the office over there in the office building, scaring the people inside, saying how come a deer face suddenly appeared. It's also because the people here are kinda. If they were in other places, these guys might have become someone's meal. Just as he walked to the Shengui Lake, Cai Hongming saw the white jade scorpion, which had turned black, rushing out from the elephant grass on the hillside, and crawling onto him. This guy's now very big, and it crawled onto his head, and lay down like a hat. Cai Hongming picked it up with disdain. It was a bit heavy at this size, and it felt strange to have it on his head, so he put it on his shoulder. When the white jade scorpion turned black before, its body was like crystal, transparent and emitting a crystal light. Now the color of its body has become restrained and looks ordinary, but he knows that its seemingly ordinary body contains a very terrifying destructive power. The little guy was very happy to see him, wagging its tail excitedly, and rubbing its head against his ear affectionately. Cai Hongming also touched the little guy, vaguely remembering that, when he dug it out of the soil, it looked sick and dying, but now it has grown so big. He caught it in front of his eyes, and looked at it carefully. He found that the white skull pattern on its back was still there. After thinking about it, he named it Little Skull. Little Bone for short. I don't know if those who like Uakayangu will jump out and scold him to death if they know that he called a scorpion Little Bone. Originally, he wanted to walk around alone, but a large group of animals came over, and he suddenly had to lead the animals to play. Although the momentum was huge and looked majestic, Cai Hongming had a strange feeling of taking a child to the zoo. As he walked, he found that the majority of the flying birds in Shengjing were swan geese, as well as purple swallows, magpies, larks, etc. He only knew these species and did not know the other birds. He knew the swan goose because it also had the word swan in its name, so he paid special attention to it when he saw it at school. Swan geese mainly live in lakes, ponds, rivers, and swamps on open plains and plain grasslands, especially in places with dense aquatic plants near lakes on the plains, and sometimes appear in mountain plains and river valleys. When the weather gets cold, they will start to fly from their breeding grounds to the south to spend the winter. They will not come back until the weather warms up next year. They often migrate together in large groups of dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of them, which is a very spectacular scene. He saw the scale of the swan geese in Shengjing, which was about a few hundred, which was only considered medium among the migrating bird flocks. The swan goose is actually the ancestor of the domestic goose. The domestication of swan geese in China can be traced back to ancient times. Since ancient times, swan geese have been valued by people. The ancients left many articles and poems about swan geese. The most famous one is "Death is lighter than a feather, but heavier than Mount Tay." There is also the sentence "The claws of a swan leave mark on the mud." It leaves no trace when it passes through the water, which is used to describe the untraceability of time. The latter sentence comes from Sushi's poem Remembering the Mayan Chi Pond with Xiao. What is life like everywhere? It should be like a flying swan stepping on the snow mud. The claws are left on the mud occasionally, and the swan flies away without thinking about the east and the west. I have read this poem before, but I just memorized it by rote, and I didn't understand the meaning of the poem. Now, after being forged in the furnace of society, I can't help but sigh when I read it again. I remember that swan geese were also mentioned in Li Qing's famous Akut plum. The fragrance of the red lotus has withered, the jade mat is cold in autumn, I take off my silk dress and go on a boat alone. Who in the clouds will send me a letter? When the wild geese return, the moon is full in the west building. Flowers are falling, and water is flowing, a kind of longing to idle worries. There is no way to eliminate this feeling. It has just left my brow, but it is still on my heart. The wild geese in When the Wild Geese Return. The moon is full in the west building is wild geese. Think about the meaning of this poem. The lotus has withered, the fragrance has disappeared, the cold and smooth bamboo mat, revealing the deep cool autumn. I take off my gauze dress and go on a boat alone, looking up at the distant sky. Who will send me a letter where the white clouds are rolling? It is the time when the wild geese form a person shape and return to the south in rows. The bright moonlight is immersed in people, sprinkling on this pavilion leaning alone in the west. Flowers are floating on their own, and water is drifting on its own. A kind of longing for separation stirs up to idle worries. What cannot be ruled out is that this love sickness and this sorrow of separation, which just disappeared from the slightly frowned brows, are entangled in my heart again. The poems of the ancients are always so beautiful, and the artistic conception, just thinking about it, makes people intoxicated. Perhaps this is the so-called sentiment. Cai Hongming took a large group of animals for a walk. The birds did not fly away in panic, but still foraged leisurely. Some bold ones even jumped on the back of the deer and sang chirpingly. When he came to the lake, he saw birds playing and foraging on the lake, and hatching eggs in the sand and grass by the lake. Cai Hongming touched his chin and thought, feeling that having more birds is not a bad thing. These birds will always leave, and when they leave eggs, they can be hatched with an incubator. Raise them carefully, maybe a group of wild geese will be cultivated next year. The meat of this wild goose is better than that of domesticated ones, and there are not many birds in the nearby mountains and forests. When the time comes, raise some and release some. When there are more birds, you can often hear birds singing in the future. How nice. But there is a downside, that is, after these birds see this place is good, they will probably come back next year, which is really troublesome. At this time, there was a sudden noise from behind. Turning around, I saw the young men in the farm, wearing camouflage uniforms, holding engineer shovels, and carrying large backpacks, walking up the mountain. Obviously, they were going to catch yellow sheep. Just catching a yellow sheep, is it necessary to mobilize so many troops? He didn't know that, in order to catch yellow sheep, these people specially ran to the monitoring room in the office building to check the location and environment of the yellow sheep, and then ran to the conference room to discuss how to catch the yellow sheep, just like marching and fighting, making plans one by one. Fortunately, he was not there, otherwise he would have laughed to death. After walking around, Cai Hongming remembered that he had to make a big meal for King Gan and the others in the evening, and hurried to the hillside to dig thatch roots. I don't know if the thatch roots were soaked in yuchin liquid before, or adapted to the environment. The roots are actually enlarged, and taste particularly sweet. Chew it before the meal, to ensure a good appetite. After digging up the thatch roots, he went to the lake to catch fish. There is an underground river under the Shengui Lake, and the fish in the underground river often go in and out of the cave. Although these fish are small, they are delicious, which is absolutely incomparable to ordinary sea fish and stream fish. Why do those birds that can swim always swim around the lake? It is because they are tempted by these stupid fish that swim out of the underground river. Otherwise, those birds are not stupid. How could they stay in the lake all day? After catching some fish in the underground river, Cai Hongming originally planned to catch a sturgeon to take eggs to make caviar. After all, Fresh caviar is delicious, but now the sturgeon spawning period has passed, so he had to give up. Then, he went to pick some fat cacti to make soup. These are edible cacti, which are very delicious and nutritious when cooked with dragon bones, red dates, and polygonatum. After picking the cacti, he put the collected ingredients in the kitchen, then found a telescope, and ran to the desert next to the farm to squat. Since he was going to treat people to a big meal, he certainly couldn't be careless, so he had to prepare some rare and delicious things. And one of them was in the vast sea of sand. People who have never been to the desert think that there is no life in the vast yellow sand, and it is clearly a dead land. But in fact, there is also life in the sand dunes, and there are rare delicacies, but ordinary people can't see them or catch them. Cai Hongming took a telescope and looked carefully at the ground nearby. There was yellow sand everywhere. If his eyes were not good, he would have been dizzy. Suddenly, a piece of sand not far ahead seemed to move, and he quickly picked up the telescope to look. Unfortunately, he couldn't see anything, but his intuition told him that there was something there. After a while, the ground moved again, and then he saw a bunch of things running quickly. This is a sand grouse, a rare sand grouse. For Cai Hongming, sand grouse is also a thing that can only be seen from the beginning, but not the end. He has only heard of its legend, and has never seen it. Because this thing is very cunning, its feathers are the color of sand, you may not be able to find it, even if you look carefully. Moreover, the sand grouse is very fast. It can flap its wings and fly at a low altitude, and your two legs can't catch up with its speed. Cai Hongming also heard from the people on the farm that there are some things that look like chickens and birds that often come to steal the feed of cattle, sheep, and ostriches. He came here today just to give it a try, but he didn't expect to encounter it. Since there is one, he can't let it go. He quickly took the telescope and looked carefully. To be continued. Chapter 132, Sand Grouse. In the boundless sea of sand, there are clusters of trees, which are tamarisks. Clusters of tamarisks inject vitality into the originally silent sea of sand. In order to survive in the water-scarce desert, the tamarisks rely on their tenacious perseverance to dig their roots deep into the sand, up to dozens of meters long, and stretch all the way to the place with water sources. These tamarisks were planted by Cai Hongming after he bought the farm, in order to block the invasion of wind and sand. Not only tamarisks, but also camel thorns, Achnathorum splendens, Hylarxylon amadendron and other plants suitable for desert growth are planted. Every year he has to pay a large sum of money for this, just to prevent the yellow sand from raging in this desert. The sand grouse drilled out of the sand and ran. When it ran out of speed, it suddenly spread its wings, like a glider, flew flat on the sand, quickly drilled into the fence of the farm, and rushed into the trough for feeding livestock. Looking at its movements, it is elegant and calm, as if dancing a beautiful waltz. When it arrived at the trough, the sand grouse started eating without paying attention to the large animals such as yaks and ostriches around it, and it was not afraid of whether they would bite, peck or butt it. It just ate, as if it was risking its life. It ate, jumped and caught, as if it was singing. Ah la 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 la, la 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 la. I came to a beautiful place, next to the trough on the farm. The food in the trough is rich and tastes sweet and delicious. Dear youth, you are my forever. The above is a song I changed randomly. You can try to imagine it with the Russian Kiev walls. It's fun. Cai Hongming saw the sand grouse flying into the farm, but he didn't care. Now is not a good time to catch sand grouse. At this time, the sand grouse is still hungry. Its body is light and agile, and it flies fast. You can't catch it at all. You have to wait until it is full and has a big belly, so it doesn't run fast and fly so smoothly before it can be caught. So he held the telescope and continued to watch the sand grouse quietly. However, he did not do nothing, but quietly moved forward a little and then buried his whole body in the sand, waiting for the sand grouse to come out just in time to catch it. Waiting intentionally is often a very painful thing. But time will not stop for this. The sun gradually sets in the west. The sand grouse that was eating and drinking in the trough was finally full, and it lifted its butt, shook its feathers, and flapped its wings and left. It felt like I left quietly, just as I came quietly. I waved my sleeves, and didn't take away a cloud. The feeling of being calm and light. Sand grouse is a very alert animal. Even if it is full and walks slowly, it will still look around, listen with its ears tilted, and look alert. But even if it is alert, it didn't expect that there was a dirty person buried in the sand at this time. Looking at it with covetous eyes. Here it comes. The sand grouse looked around and walked out of the farm fence step by step. The more it was at this time. Cai Hongming dared not move, holding his breath and waiting slowly. Closer, closer, closer. At this moment, Cai Hongming suddenly started. He jumped up from the sand and rushed towards the sand grouse. The sand grouse was so scared that it jumped up from the ground with a cuckoo sound and flapped its wings to fly. Unfortunately, it was too full and fell to the ground after flying only a few meters. It was caught by Cai Hongming, who rushed over. "Little guy, you still run," Cai Hongming said to the sand grouse viciously. Suddenly, he found that there was movement next to him. Looking carefully, it was clearly a sand grouse. And it was not 1 or 2, but 5 or 6. This was only what he could see with his eyes. What if he didn't find it? These guys dared to treat his farm as their own restaurant. Eat when you want to eat, leave when you want to leave, and don't pay money. How is it possible? At least leave some interest. Thinking of this, he chased after the nearest sand grouse. Sand grouse are gregarious animals, often living together in a group. So it's not surprising that Cai Hongming saw so many. Although the sand grouse has a chicken name, it is actually about the same size as a pigeon and looks very similar. The sand grouse that Cai Hongming was chasing was not like the one in his hand, which was so full that it could not fly, but flew very fast. But after all, it had just eaten and had not yet fully digested the food, so after flying for a distance, it was caught by Cai Hongming, who was chasing it. Looking at a sand grouse in each hand, Cai Hongming laughed and finally had dinner. Sand grouse can be said to be a bird with economic value, so some people are raising it now. But the taste of raised things is not so pure after all, and Cai Hongming rarely eats it, so he plans to make a good dish tonight. In the back mountain of Zhejiang, a group of people are moving quickly towards their destination. King Guyan tapped her legs and waist while walking and asked Liu Zhang, who was attentive to her side, "Are we there yet?" "Almost, we'll be there after crossing this mountain." King Guyan's beautiful eyes widened when she heard it. "Your dad just said that we'll be there after crossing this mountain, but we've already crossed 2 mountains." "Okay." Liu Zhang didn't dare to look at her with a guilty conscience, but just kept walking forward with his head down. At this time, King Guyan remembered a joke told by a government official who went to the mountainous area below. "Once I went to visit someone in the mountains. In the evening, the family said that there was a village next door having a festival and was performing a play. They asked me if I wanted to go and watch it. I thought, since I was here, I might as well go and see it and learn about the entertainment life of the common people. So I went to watch the play with that family. But after walking for half an hour and climbing over a hill, I found something wrong. There was not even a sound here. It didn't look like there was a mountain village. So, I asked curiously, 'Fellow villager, where is the village you are talking about?' The fellow villager replied, 'It's next door. We will get there if we go over there.' I thought to myself, since we are almost there, I might as well hold on for a while. Unexpectedly, we climbed over 3 more mountains before we got there. Later, I learned that there were few people there. Although it was next door, the village was very far away, at least more than 10 kilometers away. That's not all. When I went there, I found out that the play was specially performed by the village in July for ghosts to watch. It was performed all night. Since then, I was so scared that I never dared to spend the night in the countryside again." King Guyan thought about this and thought that she would not be so unlucky as to encounter the same thing as the official said. Although it was said to be next door, it was actually quite far away. Fortunately, things were not as she thought. After crossing the mountain, they really arrived at the place. It was a curved canyon formed by the erosion of mountains and waters during the spring rains. There were high mountains on both sides. The steep slopes and slightly flat areas on the side of the mountain were covered with grass. The gazelles were grazing on the grass. After they arrived at the place, they did not enter the canyon, but just lay on the hillside and watched from afar. King Iron saw that the scenery nearby was good, so she picked up the camera to take pictures, but was stopped by Liu Zhang. Gazelles are the most sensitive. If they find the flash, they will definitely run away, and then they will have made a wasted trip. King Iron glared at him angrily, but still put the camera away. They had a plan when they came. After arriving at the place, some people fled along the hillside to the front of the canyon, while those who stayed walked towards the valley in trance. When they came, they had already seen clearly that there were only about 30 or 40 yellow sheep. Since Beigong said they were delicious, they did not plan to let them go, but wanted to catch them all. Some to eat, some to raise, so that they could reproduce and eat as much as they wanted, and they would not have to go through so much trouble to catch them. To be continued, chapter 133 Scolding. After the farm had more people, Cai Hongming asked them to divide into 5 teams. Li Chun, Miranghua, Pan Heyman, Liu Zhang, Chen Dashan and others who came earlier just happened to lead 1 team each, while Jidong and Zhao Kung Gang were responsible for managing them and everything on the farm. This division of labor is worry-free. At least you don't have to do everything yourself. Just give orders and someone will naturally execute whatever you want to plant. Therefore, Cai Hongming is now living a very carefree and comfortable life. Because there is also a rose garden in Houghton, the farm has to change people to take care of it every 3 months. In addition, the farm has been harvesting corn and sweet potatoes recently to prevent flying birds, so this time only Liu Zhang and Pan Heyman came to catch yellow sheep. Pan Heyman led people to the front, and Liu Zhang set traps at the exit here. When they set the traps, Pan Heyman will drive the yellow sheep over from the other side. Liu Zhang's team is like him, and everyone is very strong. After arriving at the place, they found the road that the yellow sheep must pass, and they started digging pits. King Iron, who came to join in the fun, watched from the side, taking pictures of them with a camera from time to time. With more people, there is more power. Soon, the pit was dug. They began to set traps with the ropes and nets they brought, and cut some trees to make railings, and put them on both sides of the traps, so that the yellow sheep could only step over the traps. Everything was ready. Liu Zhang led his men to hide, and sent a signal to Pan Heyman at the other end. After a while, Pan Heyman sent back a message, and then a loud shout was heard. The shout echoed in the canyon, forming a huge rumble. The yellow sheep that were grazing were suddenly startled and ran away. Some ran in the wrong direction because they were too anxious. Pan Heyman and others appeared and drove the yellow sheep to the other side. Dozens of yellow sheep ran on the dry ground, and dust and smoke rose up. It created a loud noise. The frightened yellow sheep had lost their judgment and were not afraid of them running away again. So King Iron took the camera and took pictures as she pleased, but in order to avoid scaring the gazelles with the dazzling light, she turned off the flash. The herd of gazelles was getting closer and closer, and Liu Zhang and others were getting more and more nervous. The sound of hooves was getting closer and closer. A gazelle stepped on the trap first. Suddenly, it felt empty under its feet, and its body fell down. 1, 2, 3. Because of inertia, the gazelles in front couldn't stop even if they wanted to, and fell into the trap one after another. But some gazelles were lucky and jumped forward by stepping on the bodies of their companions who fell into the trap. But unfortunately, a net was waiting for them. This continued for a while. The gazelles at the back stopped, but there were not many gazelles left at this time. Some gazelles were about to run back, but Pan Heyman and others chased them. The remaining gazelles turned around, not knowing whether to move forward or backward. At this time, Liu Zhang helped them make a decision, and a large net fell from their heads, covering them all in the net. Finally, they counted and found that they had harvested more than 40 yellow sheep, big and small, and they grinned with joy. Then, they began to clean up the mess, catching the yellow sheep that fell into the trap one by one, and tying them up with ropes to prevent them from running away. King Iron was not idle either, and she picked up the camera and kept taking pictures. Later, I don't know what she was thinking. She actually grabbed a handful of dirt and smeared it on her face, clothes and other places, making herself sloppy, and then she went to catch yellow sheep herself, but asked a young man who knew how to take pictures to help her take various pictures. Needless to say, she must take pictures to show off. There is a name for such people on the internet. called show-off photomaniacs. Just looking at her fair and tender appearance, would anyone believe that she could catch sheep? But these were none of Liu Zhang's business. Anyway, she could take pictures if she wanted to. They were happy to get close to the beautiful woman and smell the refreshing fragrance wafting from her body. There were a lot of yellow sheep caught, but Liu Zhang and others did not plan to ask people to help. After daily exercise on the farm, they are now stronger than when they were in the army, and carrying 2 yellow sheep each is a piece of cake. After tying up all the yellow sheep, they filled the holes they dug and removed the railings to prevent others from falling into the trap. After that, they carried the yellow sheep back. King Guyan didn't know what she was thinking, but she also wanted to carry the sheep. But it was too heavy, she couldn't carry it at all, so she had to give up. But then she came up with an idea and asked someone to help her carry the yellow sheep. This made the young man she called to help carry the yellow sheep laugh and cry. If people knew that he had fallen to the point of carrying yellow sheep with a woman, they didn't know what they would think. Perhaps because of the full harvest, when they went back, Liu Zhang and others were in a very good mood, and they also felt that the autumn mountain scenery they often saw was unusually beautiful. The white birch, with its gradually withered and yellow leaves, flashed colorful colors like glass. The red maple trees are so beautiful, like fire, sun, and blood, burning the autumn. There are also a few green pines, standing proudly on the soil, looking at the world, exuding a heroic spirit of dominating the world. The afterglow of the sun sprinkles on them, outlining a beautiful picture like a poem. In the evening, Cai Hongming is going to treat people to a big dinner, so today he specially cooks in person. While he was busy, he suddenly heard a commotion outside. He ran out and saw Liu Zhang and his team catching a large group of yellow sheep and frowned. I told you to catch a few if you want to eat them. Why catch so many? Do you want to kill them all? Do you understand what the food chain is? What is the law of survival in nature? If you catch these sheep, what will the wolves eat? If the wolves have nothing to eat, they will attack the domesticated livestock. If the livestock are eaten by wolves, they will kill the wolves in revenge. If the wolves are killed and exterminated, what will happen? If there are too many sheep and they eat up all the grass? What if there are too many mice? Have you ever thought about it? Cai Hongming scolded Liu Zhang and others bitterly, making them bow their heads. In this world, every creature has its own reason for existence. For example, dung beetles, which specialize in pushing feces, may seem useless, but they are scavengers in nature. Mice and cockroaches are disgusting to everyone, but they are experts in eating rotten food and dirt. And mosquitoes, although they are hated, are the food of many animals. Nothing is useless, it's just that you haven't discovered what its use is. This area is a desert and semi-desert area, where the living conditions are poor. The food chain is already very fragile. Human indiscriminate hunting and killing can easily cause the fragile food chain to break, and the consequences will be unpredictable. Brother Hong, since the yellow sheep meat is delicious, why don't we catch them and raise them? Maybe we can sell them for money in the future. Liu Zhang said boldly. What can't be sold for money? There are people who buy cow dung. Don't you think about it? There are fewer and fewer wild things now. If you keep catching them like you do, will we be able to see these things in the future? Don't you see that I caught a ram? For these things, you have to catch the big ones and let the small ones go. Catch the males and let the females go, and give them a little life, so that they can reproduce. If everyone is like you, the Chinese things would have been extinct long ago. After hearing this, Liu Zhang dared not speak again. Cai Hongming has always been cheerful and smiling in front of them. It's rare for him to get angry, but he didn't expect that he would be so scary when he got angry. In addition, he is good at kung fu, so everyone was worried for a while, fearing that he would fight them one-on-one. Beigong also came out and watched for a while. Then he said, okay, it's just catching a sheep. But what Hongming said makes sense. We can't catch them like this in the future. There are only a few things in our mountain. If we do this, we will catch them all sooner or later. We can't do this in the future. Liu Zhang and others quickly agreed. Beigong waved his hand and asked them to leave. They quickly ran away. Although they were scolded for no reason, they couldn't help but be excited to catch a yellow sheep and eat a delicious yellow sheep meat. Cai Hongming didn't actually want to do anything to them. He just wanted to take this opportunity to beat them up, so that these strong guys wouldn't go to harm the things in the mountains for no reason. You know, there are few plants and trees in this place, and it's not easy for plants and animals to grow. If they kill them indiscriminately, it's only a matter of time before the creatures become extinct. Although it is said that there is survival of the fittest, some things can't be done so arbitrarily and willfully. To be continued. Chapter 134 Starry Sky. The northwest sky is always so blue. You stand on the wheat yellow sand and stretch out your hand, as if you can touch the sky and touch the blue sky, but the fact is that you think too much. On the star-picking tower at the gate of Zhengzheng, King Gan saw the stars in the sky, which seemed to be within reach, so she naively jumped up to grab them, which caused a burst of laughter. What are you laughing at? Hurry up and serve the food. Aren't you going to treat us to a big meal? We are almost starving. King Gan, who didn't catch the stars, turned around and saw Cai Hongming with a sly smile on his face, and immediately became angry. Cai Hongming didn't listen to her, and still slowly put the dishes on the table, and then took out the prepared dishes one by one from the incubator next to him. After arranging them, he put 2 cleaned fat white grass roots in front of King Gan. King Gan stared. What do you mean, let me eat grass roots? Do you think I'm a pig? This is an appetizer. Cai Hongming didn't bother to pay attention to her and took 2 and chewed them. Seeing him eating with gusto and her good friends in Jinrao starting to eat, she picked up a root of Imperator cylindrica with some doubt and started to bite it. With a crisp sound, a drop of juice fell into her mouth, and it was fragrant and refreshing. She couldn't help but savor it carefully, and a natural fragrance lingered in her mouth. She also opened a shop, and after tasting it, her mind instantly came alive, but she was still a little reserved, so she asked casually, what is this? Why have I never eaten it before? Imperator cylindrica root. What Imperator cylindrica root? King Gan was born and raised in Kyoto. She may have seen a lot of things and had a broad vision, but she obviously didn't know anything about these wild animals in the countryside, just like a child who stayed in the city, eating rice and pasta all day, but couldn't even tell the difference between the most basic rice and wheat. It's just the root of a kind of grass. If you don't understand, check it online yourself. Cai Hongming was too lazy to tell her, so he took the bowl of Zinjinrao next to him and scooped a bowl of seafood porridge. The seafood porridge uses the meat of the lobster in Yazhu and is carefully cooked with rice, a specialty of Zhengzheng, scallops, rolls, lean meat, shallots and other things. It tastes very delicious, and it makes people hungry just by smelling it. King Gan, who was about to check on her phone, saw it. She quickly handed over her bowl. If you don't eat something delicious, you are a fool. She is obviously not one of them. She ate 2 bowls of seafood porridge in a row. King Gan, who always had a small appetite, couldn't help but be surprised. She wiped her red lips slightly and asked, how come you have lobsters here? I bought them last time and have been freezing them with water. Cai Hongming fooled. King Gan just asked casually and didn't say anything after listening and continued to concentrate on attacking the food he made. In addition to seafood porridge, Cai Hongming also made beggar's sand chicken. Although the name of this beggar's sand chicken is ordinary, the method is actually not ordinary at all. Cai Hongming specially caught a small tender turtle that he had raised this year, made it drunk with wine, scalded the skin, took out the internal organs, and then stuffed it with a ball of Sistinch desserticolor with mutton, and then stuffed it into the body of the sand grouse. Finally, wrap it with taro leaves, cover it with lake mud, and roll it into a ball on the sand. Roast it with firewood. After it is done, knock off the lake mud, remove the taro leaves, put the beggar chicken into the soup bowl, and tap it slightly with chopsticks. The beggar chicken and the small and tender bones inside will be separated from the meat. The beggar chicken made in this way is sweet and delicious, and it is extremely delicious. Drink a mouthful of soup. It makes people feel that their whole life is bright. In addition, there are crispy fried scorpions, stir-fried mutton offal, crispy sandworms, and a delicious dish made with sweet and spicy eel slices and his homemade caviar. People's appetites are so great that they don't want to talk. At this time, Liu Zhang and others were also eating in the cafeteria. While eating, they looked at the Zixing Tower and seemed to be very dissatisfied with Cai Hongming monopolizing two beauties. As the main person in charge of the Zidushengjing station of the Northwest office, Shi Jinxing rarely shows up. Because the nature of his work does not allow him to contact too many people. People on the farm sometimes don't know if he is here. But tonight he walked out of the building where he was stationed and slowly walked towards the Zixing Tower. People eating in the cafeteria saw him passing by and their eyes widened. Brother Zhang, do you think Hang's brother-in-law is going to catch an adulterer? Asked a person next to Liu Zhang. Catch a bullshit. If anyone wants to catch someone, it should be the boss's wife. Why is he interfering alone? What nonsense are you talking about? Catching an adulterer? Liu Zhang scolded him unhappily, but he was obviously worried and quickly called Cai Hongming. When Shi Jinxing arrived at the Zixing Tower, Cai Hongming had already received the news and was outside to greet him. Why are you here? Come, let's have a drink together. Shi Jinxing ignored him, but took a step forward and whispered in his ear, don't do anything to let Wana down, otherwise I will never forgive you. Go away if you don't want to eat. You can't even beat my chicken, and you dare to threaten me. What a joke, I can't beat your chicken, be careful that I will chop it up and eat it one day. Shi Jinxing said disdainfully. Really? Cai Hongming smiled slightly. Of course. Shi Jinxing was very tough, but it didn't matter that Cai Hongming suddenly shouted, who are her? Generally speaking, whether it is chickens or ducks, as long as they are poultry, most of them are listless at night, and they look listless and want to sleep. But Uata, the big rooster raised by Cai Hongming, is obviously an outlier in the poultry world. Not only is it not listless at night, but it is full of energy, and sometimes it will run outside to catch scorpions to eat. It was still early today, and it didn't want to sleep yet, so it was dawdling by the Shengui Lake. Suddenly, he heard Cai Hongming calling, and he immediately ran away. When Shi Jinxing heard Cai Hongming calling Huahe, his heart trembled. Huahe was not an ordinary chicken, but a fighting chicken among chickens, a tough character that could peck glass and scratch through steel plates. He couldn't deal with it. He was just talking just now. He didn't expect Cai Hongming to call it. He felt bad and ran away. Otherwise, if he was caught and pecked later, his face would be ruined. So, when Huahe came to Zixing Tower, Shi Jinxing had already run away. It stood by the window, looking at Cai Hongming with a big red comb, as if asking him what he called it for. Originally, he wanted to call it over to teach Shi Jinxing a lesson, but it ran away. But he couldn't let it run in vain, so he picked up some dishes from the table for it to eat. Huahe looked at it and tilted its head, as if to say, you called me here and let me eat these things? It seemed very disdainful, but after it tasted it, it couldn't stop eating. It has never eaten such delicious food. After feeding Huahe, he was about to turn around and continue eating, when he suddenly saw the black scorpion Ziogu lying by the window and wagging its tail. Why did this guy come here too? In order not to scare King Guyan and Xinjin Rao, he quickly put it into the jade bead. After King Guyan and Xinjin Rao had eaten to fill their stomachs, he took out the sea buckthorn wine made from frosted sea buckthorn fruits and buried in the soil for more than a year and poured them a glass. Try it and see how the wine I brewed tastes. King Guyan and Xinjin Rao took the wine and tasted it. Well, it tasted pretty good. The two were young women and had always had small appetites, but Cai Hongming's dishes in the evening were too delicious, so they even had a small belly. After eating, the two kept thinking, what if they got fat? After dinner, the three of them took a walk together to digest the food. The dark night was quiet and silent. Only the naughty stars in the sky were quietly blinking. King Guyan touched her belly in an indecent manner and said to Hongming, your sea buckthorn wine tastes good. My store happens to be out of this kind of desert specialty wine, so I plan to take some back. Imperator root is also very good. It can be used as an appetizer for customers before meals, and it can also refresh the mouth when you chew it. When you have nothing to do, you should prepare a batch for me as well, and give me the position of domestic general agent for caviar. Although your caviar is good, it is not well known and the price cannot be raised. After I become the agent, I will do my best to build up your Shengui Lake brand, but you have to give me a half price discount, otherwise I will suffer a great loss. Cai Hongming did not expect that after just one meal, she would start to miss the treasures on his farm. After thinking for a while, he said, "Sea buckthorn wine is fine. I brewed a batch last year, and there are about 150 jars of Tenjin bottles left. I can give you 120 jars. Imperator root is a little more troublesome. It tastes good only when it is fresh. It will absorb water when kept fresh or refrigerated, and it will have a watery smell when eaten. So I suggest that it is best to sell it on the same day it is harvested, or it can be kept in a cool place for about 2 or 3 days. As for caviar, in fact, the current output is not very high, only about 200 boxes, and it should be more next year." "So little?" King Guyan frowned. Her King Guyan Langfang has branches in major cities across the country, and the daily consumption is more than 200 boxes. Since the quantity is not large, then specialize in high-end ingredients. His caviar marinated with Chinese medicinal materials with salty and sweet taste is unique in the world, and it is more suitable for Chinese people's taste. It does not take much effort to make it into a high-end ingredient. Maybe it can be promoted to the international market in turn, but the quantity is still too small. Cai Hongming can actually increase the production of caviar, which is nothing more than killing a few more sturgeons. However, if too many are killed, there will be fewer sturgeons next year. If this cycle continues, the sturgeons he raises will become extinct, so this method is not advisable. To be continued. Chapter 135. Jade Bead Internal Training. After walking back to the house, Cai Hongming locked the door and entered the space of the jade bead. When the black scorpion Xiaogu saw it, he immediately ran over quickly, climbed up his trouser legs to his shoulders, and rubbed his cheek affectionately. It was raised by Cai Hongming, since it was a child, and it had more affection for him than other animals on the farm. Cai Hongming touched its body and walked forward. The fat little worm, who had just bitten a piece of green Ganoderma lucidum and was chewing it in big mouthfuls, saw him coming and immediately looked at him with a pair of cute big eyes. Cai Hongming walked over, touched it, and looked at the medicinal herbs in the mountains. It felt that these herbs were growing well, much better than before. It seemed that the current environment was better than before. According to his observation, although the spring water flowing in the jade bead was not as good as the jade toad liquid, it was also good. It has many benefits for the growth of plants. He watered the medicinal materials with water a while ago, and they were obviously much more tender and grew a lot. After watching for a while, he continued to walk forward. The little fat bug saw that he didn't want to eat anymore, and suddenly jumped onto his other shoulder, wanting to play with him. Since this guy grew bigger, it seems that in addition to eating shit, he has gained another skill, that is, very fast speed. Swoosh, it's here. Swoosh, it's there. It's even faster than flying. If this guy couldn't speak and looked stupid, he really wanted to ask him how to achieve such speed. Not long after walking, he came to the lake. Some fish shadows appeared in the freshwater lake, which he had fished out from the Shengui lake, and put in it. There were also some small hairy crabs and turtles crawling around. Bang, a black shadow suddenly jumped out of the lake. It was a pink manta ray. This guy felt him coming, and came out to find him. After being received by Cai Hongming, it was very happy, and it didn't have to stay in the water all day like in the Shengui lake. It would jump out of the lake from time to time, fly between the peaks by the lake, and then fall back down. Those who didn't know would think it was a bird. After flying a circle in the sky, the pink manta ray landed on the lake again, and climbed onto the shore. It happily moved closer to Cai Hongming. The little guy's fleshy pointed tail rested on the ground, and he walked with his two fleshy wings at the bottom, twisting and turning, looking like a fat penguin, which was very funny. But it didn't walk for long before it lay down. After all, its body was too heavy, and the weak fleshy wings at the back couldn't support the weight above. Cai Hongming teased it for a while, and introduced it to Xiaogu and Xiaopangchang to prevent the guys from fighting. At this time, he remembered that he seemed to have never given the pink manta a name, so he planned to give it one. What should I call it? Xiaohong, Xiaofu, Xiaofan? No, they don't sound good. Xian, Zero, Xiaoteohong. It seems too human, but Xiaoteohong looks like its pink color. After thinking for a while, he removed the red and named the pink manta ray Xiaoteo. It also fits the little guy's mischievous temperament. The pink manta ray was very happy to get the name and kept circling around Cai Hongming. He also asked him to sit on its back and planned to take him into the water to play. Cai Hongming didn't want to go down, which disappointed it. However, it quickly became happy and went into the water to play. In addition to the pink manta ray, Cai Hongming also raised a group of sturgeons in it. According to the scale of his current breeding, the number of sturgeons is already considerable, but these are newly raised after all. If you want to take the fish eggs to make caviar, you will probably have to wait until next year. During the explosion, he also put the dragon turtle into the jade bead. When he got inside, the dragon turtle, which had always ignored him, had obviously become much better. Now it would nod and say hello to him when it saw him, which surprised him very much. After a circle in the jade bead, Cai Hongming took Xiaogu out. When leaving, she also collected some of the poop of the little fat worm. When taking a walk in the evening, King Gan told her that his Betrayal pill had produced results. Kyoto experts found through scientific instruments and human tests that the poop of the little fat worm after eating Betrayal can lower blood pressure, blood sugar and improve the body's immunity. After eating it, the fatigue is gone and the energy is full the next day. These are the fastest results. Others have not been discovered yet, and it is not known whether there are side effects. These will have to wait for the next research to know. Cai Hongming was very happy with these results. As for whether there are side effects, he is not worried. After the Betrayal pill is eaten by the little fat worm, it is digested in the stomach, which is equivalent to the legendary immortals refining elixirs in the furnace. The worm fesses are equivalent to elixir in fermented tea, so there is no problem of side effects. After going outside, Cai Hongming played with Xiaogu for a while, let it go back, and turned off the lights to go to bed. Oh. In the early morning, when the sky was still hazy, the big rooster jumped to the highest point of the roof, held his head high and shouted arrogantly. The voice was loud and resounded in the valley of Shenzhen. Cai Hongming was awakened by such a loud voice. Not only him, but everyone in Shenzhen was like this. However, they have become accustomed to this natural alarm clock way of waking up. After washing up, Cai Hongming came to the open space in front of the house and found that some people had already arrived. He greeted them, stretched his body, and wanted to go for a run. Suddenly, he saw the big rooster Huahua came out from nowhere, running forward with a little owl. He was dumbfounded and asked Liu Zhang beside him, "What is going on? Who knows what's wrong with this guy?" When it was over there by the cactus a while ago, it saw this bird fall from it. I don't know if it was stupid or something was wrong with its brain, but it actually brought it back to raise it. These few days, it has grown up, and he still takes it to run with us. It's really stupid. Cai Hongming ran for a while, and found that the facts were similar to what Liu Zhang said. Huahua took the little owl for a run, but the owl was so heavy that it was like a clumsy sea lion, staggering and unable to run. Huahua was patient, and when it saw that the little owl was not running, it fanned it with its wings to make it walk. The poor little owl was stupid to begin with, and was fanned even more stupidly. Therefore, Liu Zhang and others thought that Huahua did not intend to raise the little owl at all, but was just playing with the mouse. As for whether it would eat it, no one knew. After running 2 laps, Cai Hongming saw King Gan and Xinjin Rao also got up and were standing in front of the house exercising. Shanshan also took a chair and sat in front of the house, while her mother took a comb to comb her hair. The 2 women, with their graceful figures and beautiful faces, made a group of young men with bright eyes, as if they were about to spit fire. But Cai Hongming felt a little uncomfortable. He touched his chin and said to Liu Zhang, who was drooling, "Brother Zhang, we haven't practiced for a long time. Come and have a try." Liu Zhang was also unlucky. Because he was fat, Cai Hongming always thought of him first when he had something to do. He was also right, saying that he was helping him lose weight. When Liu Zhang heard this, he quickly swallowed the saliva that was about to flow out and retracted his bulging eyes. "Brother Hong, do I still need to practice? I definitely can't beat you. No need to try. No need to try. Why, are you scared?" "I'm not scared. I really can't beat you." Liu Zhang looked honest. Seeing that Cai Hongming didn't seem to let him go, he blamed Dong and said, "Brother Hong, you can find Brother Dong. His skills are much better than mine. Aren't you classmates? When classmates meet, their eyes are full of tears. Let's practice and exchange feelings. But as soon as he finished speaking, he was hit hard on the back of his head by Jidong behind him. This guy's trying to trick people. Seeing that he just won't fight, Cai Hongming said again, since one person doesn't dare to fight me, then let's fight 10 people. How about I fight 10 of you alone? You won't dare to fight me now. You are so cowardly, and you dare to say that you are from the special forces? After being ridiculed by him, some young men who were full of blood immediately stepped forward and planned to fight with Cai Hongming. But some older people and some old birds such as Jidong secretly stepped back. Only a fool would be provoked to step forward and hurt himself. Liu Zhang also followed the footsteps and retreated silently, but he didn't know who pushed him from behind, and he actually rushed towards Cai Hongming first. Damn, who pushed me? So wicked. Liu Zhang shouted, but he was already in front of Cai Hongming, and he saw the evil smile in his eyes at a glance, so he quickly calmed down and took precautions. However, Cai Hongming suddenly made a move, grabbed his hand, and quickly pressed the tendons of his arm. Instantly, he felt half of his body numb, as if he had been electrocuted, without any feeling. Cai Hongming casually grabbed his waist again, and threw his nearly 300-pound body out. At this time, the man behind him had already pounced on him, and without any courtesy, he punched him in the back. Cai Hongming seemed to have eyes behind his head, and he dodged past, and with a swing of his right foot, he kicked the man in the back. From a distance, he looked like a crane, playing among chickens, or like a dragon entering the water, wandering in the rivers and lakes. His family's ancestral Phi boxing, which means flying, has the meaning of stretching. It mostly imitates the flying, jumping, spreading wings, flapping and other movements of cranes. The image looks very beautiful, just like a ballet in an opera house, beautiful and moving. But in fact, this boxing style is very strong. It looks soft, but it is actually as hard as a diamond. Otherwise, his ancestors would not have thought of practicing boxing by inserting their hands into stones. A while ago, Cai Hongming practiced boxing in the sea. It seemed that he had only seen it in novels, but in fact, his ancestors had already done this. There is a move in Phi boxing called the waves hit the shore, and the water will be hit 3,000 feet high. It talks about the trembling force in Phi boxing, that is, the shaking force. It is not easy to practice this trembling force. It is undoubtedly the fastest way to practice it in the water, because in the water you can feel the waves of the water flowing around you. When you move your body, the water moves. Now you can understand the true meaning of it. Cai Hongming walked around in a group of people, attacking as he went, and beating people was like a game. After a while, several people were beaten to pieces by him, and dared not move forward. He always kept his temper when he attacked. It was just a minor injury and he would be fine tomorrow. But even so, the skin and flesh would hurt, so only those stupid and stubborn guys on the farm would be provoked to fight him, and others would not fight if they could. Only fools play games that cannot be won. To be continued, chapter 136 Stealing Peaches. Okay. Shi Jinxing, who never went out, brought the two of them to the side and clapped his hands. It just so happens that we haven't practiced for a long time. Come over and practice. Cai Hongming waved. Shi Jinxing was not fooled. Ever since he saw his sister crying because of being bullied by him when he was in school and ran to him to settle the score and was beaten by him until all over his body was black and swollen, he knew that it was a naive idea to compete with this guy in Kung Fu and win. Even after he joined the army, this idea never changed, so he just pretended not to hear his invitation. Why, you don't dare. Cai Hongming raised his eyebrows and said, how about I give you one hand? Or I give you one hand and one foot. The extremely provocative words would definitely make ordinary people furious, but Shi Jinxing was not fooled. Seeing that he could endure this, Cai Hongming turned to the two people next to him and said, otherwise, you come and try. These two people, one is a sturdy man, and the other is a skinny young man like a monkey. The sturdy man looked relatively stable and did not react to his words, while the skinny young man had a hint of dissatisfaction in his eyes. But even so, the two did not agree to compete with him. Seeing that there was a play, Cai Hongming continued to provoke. Why, you dare not? The boss is cowardly, and even the subordinates have become cowards. How about this? The same conditions as your boss just now. I will not only let you use one hand and one foot, but even the other foot. How about it? If it was a provocation just now, these words were simply naked contempt and disdain. How could the young man bear such words? And stepped out. Zhao Liu. Shi Jinxing shouted. Zhao Liu ignored him. He just said arrogantly, I'm responsible for my own affairs. The sturdy man reminded from behind, be careful. Yeah. Zhao Liu stepped forward and faced Cai Hongming. His eyes became as sharp as an eagle. If facing a guilty person, it might leave an indelible shadow of fear in the other person's heart, but Cai Hongming is a man of strong will, and such a look is useless to him. His body shape remains the same, like a willow in the wind. When it is wild, I sway with it. When it is quiet, I'm also silent. Ha. Zhao Liu shouted, stepped forward, and made a straight punch with his left hand. He hit Cai Hongming directly in the heart. Cai Hongming's body shape slightly tilted, and the 5 fingers of his right hand clenched, pecking at him like a crane's beak. Unexpectedly, Zhao Liu's punch was just a feint, and he suddenly squatted down when it hit him. He stretched his claws into the crotch, and tried to steal the peach. Oh my god. The people around him cried out. Cai Hongming, however, was calm, and suddenly bent down. His body bent like a shrimp. His 5 claws of his left foot grasped the ground, and his right foot kicked at Zhao Liu at an incredible angle. The speed was so fast, like a flash of lightning. Before everyone could see what was going on, Zhao Liu was sitting on the ground, holding his stomach, with a trickle of blood coming out of the corner of his mouth. His right hand was shaking constantly. What happened just now? Did you see it? No, I didn't see it clearly. It was blocked by Brother Hong's body. I saw it. It seemed that Brother Hong kicked his hand first, and then kicked his chest. The speed was too fast. It was a bit unclear. Just saw a shadow passing by. Then you are quite powerful. I didn't see it. You are worthy of being a sniper elite. Not to mention the people around talking about it. The sturdy man Lu Zhen saw Zhao Liu sitting on the ground, walked out. His face was so gloomy that it was almost dripping with water. You shouldn't have hit so hard. Heavy? Why don't I think so? Otherwise, you can try it too. I can let you kick a pair of feet. Cai Hongming said with a smile. You don't have to give way. After Lu Zhen finished speaking, he stepped forward and slashed at Cai Hongming with a palm. The palm wind was like an autumn wind, which made people's skin hurt. Bajiquan. As soon as he made a move, Cai Hongming could tell that he was using Baji Piguaquan. There is a saying in the countryside, Bajiquan plus Pigua, gods and ghosts are afraid. Because Bajiquan is a close-range short fight, and Pigua is a long-range long fight. The combination of the two, like a long sniper plus a short gun, can kill people from both near and far. It is already very difficult to practice Bajiquan well, not to mention practicing Pigua, and then integrating Pigua with the Bajiquan you practice, which is even more difficult. Therefore, anyone who has achieved something in this area is a master, a very powerful figure. Cai Hongming didn't expect to have the opportunity to meet someone in this deserted desert, and had to deal with him carefully to avoid capsizing in the gutter. Bajiquan is famous for its fierceness and explosiveness, while Piguaquan is known for its lightness. The two have different skills. If it weren't for the boxing skills that can suppress the opponent, it would be difficult for people of equal strength to tell the winner for a while. Unfortunately, Cai Hongming is a cheater. In the past, with the help of the Jade Toad liquid, he had already trained his crane strength thoroughly and transformed it into ki, past the 12-story tower, and broke through the double gates, reaching the profound realm of returning to the innate ki from the acquired. This is a realm that warriors dream of. It can be said to be the end and the beginning of a warrior. Many people call it the Tao. Although Cai Hongming has this strength, he did not overpower him with force, but just fought with him. In an instant, dozens of rounds went back and forth. Lu Zhen's forehead was already sweating, but Cai Hongming's face remained the same. Don't think that fighting is nothing. In fact, every time you have to consume a lot of physical strength, especially for the fierce boxing style of Bajiquan. If you continue to fight, Lu Zhen will not be able to maintain the initial fierce style, and the boxing will also weaken with the consumption of physical strength. Lu Zhen obviously also understood his weakness. he suddenly roared like a tiger, and a fist came out of his mouth, like a white snake spitting out its tongue, biting Cai Hongming directly. Cai Hongming flipped his hand and shook it, instantly dissolving this poisonous move. Lu Zhen's moves were not completely finished. He turned around and twisted, and his right hand punched out like a whip. Crack. Cai Hongming felt as if there was a sharp whipping sound echoing in his ears, but the fist was already in front of him, and he had no time to think about it, so he dodged quickly. He stepped forward and was about to grab his arm and press his meridian points. Unexpectedly, Lu Zhen shouted again, flipped his right hand, and came towards him with his left hand in a tiger hug. Baji is full of killing moves, which is its terribleness. But these terrible things are based on the foundation laid by the practitioners. For example, if you want to practice this tiger hug well, you must hug a tree. First, tie a thick layer of paper on the tree trunk. After the paper is broken, you can start hugging the tree, hugging the bark and the trunk. Finally, if you can hold a watermelon with one hand without breaking the skin, and the flesh inside is all broken by the energy, then this skill is considered to be practiced. Although Cai Hongming boasted of his extraordinary skills, he did not dare to let him hug like this. He stepped on the ground, opened his hands, and flew up like a flying crane, leaping behind him. The man suddenly turned around in midair, clasped his wings, and made a crane beak to peck at Lu Zhen's temple, and then kicked him on the back with his feet, knocking him to the ground. This move is called the flying crane 3-strike combo, and the most poisonous blow has not been used yet. After Cai Hongming kicked Lu Zhen to the ground, he stood on his back and did not get up. He opened his hands arrogantly and made a gesture of an eagle flying in the sky. Zhao Liu, who was resting nearby, saw this, stood up angrily, and pounced on him. Cai Hongming narrowed his eyes and kicked him. Before he could reach him, Zhao Liu was kicked out and fell to the ground, completely fainted. Shi Jinxing saw that his two men were all killed by him in a short while, and walked over to complain. "Why are you so cruel? How can I do anything if you knock them out? You are cruel. Why didn't you stop them when we were fighting just now? You let them come to seek death, even though you knew they couldn't win. It's obvious that you want me to teach them a lesson. How come you become so cunning after becoming an official? I remember that you were a very simple young man before." Cai Hongming said contemptuously. "What did you say? I don't understand at all." Shi Jinxing pretended to be stupid. He did have the idea of asking Cai Hongming to teach the two people a lesson, because the two were elites transferred from various places and were a little arrogant, so he wanted to take this opportunity to kill their arrogance. But he didn't expect Cai Hongming to knock them out directly. "Are they okay?" Shi Jinxing looked at the two and asked. "It's okay." Cai Hongming pointed at Lu Zhen and said, "He will wake up around noon, but that guy will have to suffer a little. The wounds on his body will not heal for a week." Upon hearing this, Shi Jinxing complained again. "I wonder why you always hit him without knowing the severity." Cai Hongming was too lazy to pay attention to him, waved his hand, and went to eat. The people watching the excitement also dispersed. Shi Jinxing quickly asked two people to help carry the men lying on the ground back, otherwise he would be exhausted to death alone. To be continued. Chapter 137 Big Green Leaf and No Taste. King Iron and Xinjin Rao were both born and raised in Kyoto. It was a rare opportunity for them to enjoy the unique scenery of the Northwest. It happened to be autumn, the most beautiful season of the year. So, after breakfast, Cai Hongming took them out to play, as well as Cao Yongxiang and her daughter, Jingjing, who had a lot of fun playing with Shanshan yesterday, wanted to follow them when she heard that they were going out. In the end, the team that originally had only a few people expanded to more than a dozen, most of whom were women. If it weren't for the fact that Chendashan and Pan Heyman's wives were pregnant and couldn't go, their team would probably have become a women's group. Seeing that the team was full of women and children, Cai Hongming called some people to protect them and arranged for Liu Zhang to drive behind them. Their means of travel this time were yaks. Yaks are more stable, while ostriches run very fast and are disobedient, so they are not suitable for taking women and children out to play. The weather in the northwest gets cold early, and the grass on the ground has turned yellow and looks bleak. But the leaves of the trees on the mountain next to them became colorful, with red, yellow, green, orange, purple, brown, and all kinds of colors. At first glance, they were colorful and beautiful, like a fairy tale dream. The blue sky was spotless and crystal clear. White clouds floated above, sometimes like dogs, sometimes like horses, and sometimes like fish swimming in the blue sea. Such a beautiful scenery made a group of women of all ages cheer and stop to take pictures from time to time. Cai Hongming, who has always been reserved, couldn't control herself at this time and kept taking pictures of her daughter and herself. Riding a yak is actually very tiring, especially the buttock groove is very painful and it will hurt if you sit for a long time. If it is a man, if he accidentally presses on his balls while riding, he will pull it and feel distressed. Therefore, they walked and stopped all the way, stopped and walked. As a result, after more than an hour, the group of people only walked a little way. Suddenly, a wide lake appeared in front of them, and the lake water was clear to the bottom. It reflected a piece of blue sky. Cai Hongming was a little puzzled when he saw it. When did the lake appear here? How come he didn't know about it? So he asked Liu Zhang, who was accompanying him. When he had nothing to do, this guy liked to take a bunch of people for a stroll. In the end, he didn't know what happened. He only knew that one day, when he came here, he saw a big lake here. He didn't know how it appeared. Hearing his words, Cai Hongming's heart moved slightly, and he jumped off the yak and walked to the lake. The lake water was clear and the bottom was visible. Below was a piece of yellow sand, without any trace of silt. After looking at it, he suddenly remembered what happened when he entered the underground river from Shengui Lake a while ago. Didn't the underground river collapse at that time? Could it be here? The collapsed sand and rocks just blocked the surroundings of the underground river, forming a lake. The more he thought about it, the more likely it was. After thinking about it, he decided to buy this piece of land when he returned. Although it is a bit far from Zhengzheng, these are not a big deal. This lake is so big. It can be used to raise fish in the future. This side is on the side of the hillside, and the ground has not yet been completely sandified. It belongs to a semi-desert area. You can plant things with a little processing. If you manage it well, you will definitely have a harvest in the future. The most important thing is that after buying it, you can stop other people from exploring and prevent others from discovering the ruins buried in the underground river. Take a rest by the lake. Going further, you will see a poplar forest. In the clear autumn season, the bleak autumn wind sweeps the leaves of the poplars into light yellow, dark yellow, and then golden yellow, and eventually they will fall to the ground and turn into silk to nourish the tree body. Only the old trunks are left standing in the cold wind. When they came, it was the most beautiful season for poplars. A piece of poplar, a piece of golden, the sun shines on the yellow leaves, which looks dazzling and colorful. Some people say, the endless sea of sand, in the distant years, has filled up thousands of acres of green lakes and thousands of miles of green rivers, swallowed countless iron-blooded men, and ruined countless tender women, caused the collapse of cities and the disappearance of countless villages, but it is powerless to do anything. That is, the poplar trees standing in the boundless sea of sand. The living ones are tall and green, full of vitality. The dead ones stand alone, defying the wind and frost. No matter how time changes, the world changes, but they remain the same. King Gaian and others did not expect to see such a beautiful scenery in such a yellow sand. They jumped off their mounts and ran to the poplar forest to take pictures. Cai Hongming was also very moved when he saw it. Alas, it's a pity that Wana can't come, otherwise I can take some beautiful photos with her. The last time they came to Dixistanch, they didn't pass by here. If they could take a few photos here, it would definitely be better than the wedding photos when they got married. King Gaian was taking pictures on the side. After hearing what he said, he immediately said dissatisfiedly, "Why? Others can't take pictures without your wife. Do you dislike us?" No, how could I dislike you? I just feel that my wife and I are more compatible," Cai Hongming explained quickly. "Not sure yet?" King Gaian rolled her eyes and said, "Come here, take a few photos with me." Cai Hongming thought it was just a photo shoot, so he walked over indifferently. Unexpectedly, King Gaian made a request. "Here, later you have to put your arms around my waist, then face the camera, and make an affectionate look. This is not good." Cai Hongming was afraid that his wife would be jealous after seeing it. "What are you afraid of? I will tell Wana when I go back. You look useless." A grown man is afraid of his wife. King Iron said contemptuously. This is not fear, it's love. Come on, hold it better. Why are you sticking your butt out like that? Do you think you are driving a train? Expression, affection, love. If you take photos like this, people will think you owe me money. Under King Iron's control, Cai Hongming took photos with her one after another. There was nothing wrong with taking photos, but she was still flirting over there, posing in a series of exciting poses for the photos. Look at her flying black hair and her sweet fragrance. How can one not be moved by her charming feelings? But the occasion was not right, and Cai Hongming had to endure it. How painful it was. I didn't expect that he was quite photogenic. After the photo shoot, King Iron and Xinjin Rao looked at the photos and said secretly. At the end, she urged Xinjin Rao to take a photo with Cai Hongming, take a couple of photos with him, and let those pretty boys in Beijing see the demeanor of the desert men here. He is still good looking, and it's worth taking a photo with him. Why did this sound weird? Seeing that Xinjin Rao was interested, King Iron hurriedly persuaded her while the iron was hot, and finally Xinjin Rao nodded and agreed to take a photo with Cai Hongming. Seeing that she agreed, King Iron hooked her finger at Cai Hongming and said, come here and take pictures with Jin Rao. Our red flowers still need green leaves like you to set off them to be beautiful in the photos. If you want green leaves, why don't you ask brother Chang to come? His green leaves are bigger. Cai Hongming pointed at Liu Chang next to him. That won't work. People will say that we sisters have no taste. King Iron said disdainfully. Liu Chang was watching the fun on the side. He didn't expect to be shot for no reason. He wanted to die. The camera that King Iron brought was of good quality, and the pictures taken were very beautiful. This also made the two girls, Shanshan and Jingjing, envious, and they all clamored to take beautiful pictures. King Iron took a few pictures of them, and finally took a few group photos of everyone. This mess disrupted their original plans. It was not until noon that the group arrived at a place where wilder larksillinamodendron grew. To be continued. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.